everybody, and welcome to tonight's Dyer's Place. This is not the stream you were expecting, I'm sure. Unfortunately, due to illness, we've had to postpone the Evil Dead stream yet again.
I think this is the most cursed stream you've attempted since the Gradius one.
Well, these things do happen.
$8, ETC, aka. So,
Yeah.
enjoying something very slapdash that we kind of sort of came up with today, but it's a subject I don't think we can go wrong with, and I'm excited to talk about some games we'll probably never get the chance to talk about otherwise. So, what are we discussing, Rob?
We're discussing, I'm going to say about 20 different horror games. Now, okay, yes, we've done horror games here in the past before. When we had Rusty on, we talked horror games. We've done streams based on some of the biggest horror franchises ever. You know, we had your Splatterhouse, Castlevania, Ghosts and Goblins. We won't be discussing any of those tonight.
Yes, you've heard the best. Now here's the other ones.
Pretty much.
Well, no, that's not fair to say, because I do actually really like some of these games, but I will admit up front the quality is variable, depending on what you're approaching here.
True.
But yeah.
So we have some really good stuff, some really bad stuff, and in a way this is also serving as a test run to make sure my internet is back up and running the way it should be. Because honestly, if it's not, I'm done. Because I don't know what the hell's going on. And I got books to write, so.
That too. I said that, if worse comes to worse, at least think of this as a sign from elsewhere and not like, God hates you sort of matter.
Yeah. Well, as you can tell, we're back to what is basically the original Dyer's Place background here, but with a few changes. Sure, you see one of the biggest ones right up top.
Fear Zombie Lincoln.
And notice Simon Belmont's reaction to that. Hey, Jay.
Yeah. Hey there, Jay. Weklum. Hope you're feeling more okay at this point.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
And let's see, down at the bottom instead of the Mo's here.
Hey, Mo, what is up? What up?
And I know I told you earlier it was going to be Evil Dead, but things changed. So.
Yep.
But we will be getting to Evil Dead.
Yeah, the Deadites are very powerful this month. It's been kind of a struggle, like, not getting brutally murdered by them, but, we're still alive, so that's something.
Yep. So, if you take a look instead of the usual bunch of characters down at the bottom, there are some new ones. And several of the new ones will be discussing their games tonight. And a couple of the old ones.
I'll gladly point out who they are as we get to the games in question, although you already recognize Arthur second from the left and Chibi Rick on the right below the flying guy, so...
Not to mention my Neon Simon Belmont up there.
Oh yeah, the same thing that you did mention, yes.
Hey, Prime.
But, hey, Prime, what is up, sir?
So, alright, well, without further ado, perhaps we should just go ahead and get started.
Yep.
Alright. But before we do, actually, I do want to state one thing. That Fear Zombie Lincoln thing. The first time I ever saw the game Ghoul School, which we will not actually be discussing tonight, I went into a room and saw these pictures of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, and the Lincoln one just looked so sinister. It's like, is that Zombie Lincoln? So
I feel like there's been at least one book about some sort of crap like that. About some sort of
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, maybe?
Right, that might be the one I'm thinking of, but I farted out a list of like 30, 35 different games, and Ghoul School was one we considered, but I kind of like the idea and atmosphere of that game, but it's not excellent to play, to be honest. It's kind of a real clusterfuck to try and navigate, so we decided we're not going to discuss that in any more detail than the Zombie Lincoln thing in question. But
Yeah, I think I had about 15 minutes into it, and it was just like, you know what? Never mind.
I do remember that there was a boss that was like a zombie conductor and a giant bouncing note, like a musical double note in it. And I think those are the manual or whatever. They were referred to as Beethoven and Notorious.
Huh. That's interesting. That's
Yeah,
You know, that's
yeah,
almost
pretty
as
much.
bad as some of the names that Konami made up for Super Castlevania 4.
Hologram for the scare the goats.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ! I always thought that was the most hilariously terrible thing,
Yeah.
even as a kid.
And what about the ones that they actually were like, ones that, remember that rock monster? Coronaut.
Yeah, which is Punna Rock backwards.
And that skull with a giant tongue is Pewizil, which if you read it backwards is licks you up.
Yeah, the obviously giant undead Gene Simmons head.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Ace Frehley, by the way.
Yeah, I heard about that the other day. So.
Yeah, my shitbag thought was, of course Gene didn't die first. I know that's fucking terrible, but I digress.
Yeah. Well, let's kick things off then. I say we start with the Atari 2600. Yes,
yeah, as
there
old
were
as we can possibly get with definable horror games. Yeah,
there were some horror games on it, and they were not bad.
yeah. They made the best they could of their atmosphere and sound capabilities, at any rate, for the time.
Yeah, especially the first one. That'd be Haunted House, which, you know, it's a pretty basic concept. You go inside a haunted house, avoid all the monsters and stuff that are in there, which is, well, 3. And you're trying to put together this, urn and escape with it. And you're thinking Old Man Gray's Ghost, aren't you?
Yeah, he...
Stay away from my urn!
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sure doesn't like you stealing his pottery for whatever purpose you have to do it for to win the game, I guess. Why are you even taking that urn? Are you the bad guy? Are you a grave robber or something?
You know, if I remember correctly, the manual is something like the earthquake that happened back in 1906, and hello, Sharon. And there's this old family heirloom in the old Graves Manor that it was broken into 3 pieces, and now you have to go in and get it before the ghost haunts you to death. Or you get bitten by a vampire bat, or you get bitten by a tarantula.
As does happen with these spooky places and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I distinctly remember, like, you had to adjust this on the console itself, but like there are several different difficulty levels you could go up to. I thought it was neat.
I wanted to bring that up in particular, but first, you do have at least one item you can use to ward off the attacks, which is a scepter. Only problem is you can only hold one item at a time. So if you have the scepter, you can't pick any pieces of the urn. At least the urn pieces assemble themselves as you pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
And you have 9 lives to finish the game with, and an unlimited supply of matches. Because you're basically a couple Pac-Man eyes. If you remember the Atari 2600 Pac-Man, when he eats the ghost, he turns little square eyes. That's pretty much what you are in the game. And when you light a match, you get a flickering kind of effect around the eyes, and anything can blow out the matches too. If one of the creatures comes in the room, if they do that, they will charge you. If you happen to be in the same room as them. And every so often, the wind will blow, and it'll just put the match out. But Where it gets interesting is like what you were going to talk about, which was the difficulty variations. Like the first one, you can see all the walls in the house. There's no locked doors, and it's pretty straightforward. And then starting in stage 2, everything's black. So you have to basically feel your way through the mansion. As it gets harder, you get locked doors introduced. You got to find a key to get through those. And by the time you reach the highest difficulty level, everything is scrambled. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's waiting for you. You don't even know where the key is or anything. So
yeah, and all the walls are effectively invisible. That's all freaking crazy.
You can only see them when the lightning flashes.
Yeah, and that is, for its time, a really effective horror, like very early proto horror atmosphere. I mean, again, this is the 2600 talking about, but I still think that's really technically impressive that it was able to actually create a pretty legitimately scary game. I'm sure people scoff at it now, but no, I still think it's legit creepy in a good way.
Yeah, and if you're familiar with this, a couple years ago, Atari introduced the Atari 2600 Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And they included a pack-in game with it. Let's see. And basically it has 10 games in one. Well, wisely, they included Haunted House.
Yes.
They also included some, downright classics like Adventure and Yar's Revenge and Missile Command. So
good old Yar.
You get a whole bunch of really good stuff on that. So it's worth the value. But it only comes it's the pack-in with the 2600 Plus. You can't get it anywhere else. Sharon, we are talking about lesser-known retro horror games. And, well, yeah, basically they all are at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, ones that aren't like the really big series that we've already covered in past tables.
Yeah, we pretty much just got done talking about one of Ma's favorite Atari games, Haunted House.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, my mother loved that game. Not as much as she liked Carnival, but then you had other companies making games for the 2600. One of them was Zonox, and they made probably the second best horror game on the console. It's called Ghost Manor. And in that, what you're trying to do is you can actually pick if you want to be a boy or a girl. And whoever you pick, the other one has been kidnapped by Dracula. So in what was kind of unique for the time is you'd start off outside the manor in a graveyard. And depending on the difficulty setting, you'd either have a rainbow ghost or a skeleton. And they'd just be kind of hopping through the tombstones. And you had to go ahead and run after them, make contact with them as they touched a tombstone. Every time you did that, you'd get a spear. Now, depending on the difficulty level, because you could get up to 25 spears in the easiest level, and I think maybe 10, 15 on the highest. But as soon as you got the last spear, you'd be transported to the front of the manor, which played kind of like Space Invaders. You had a bunch of monsters running around above you, but on the bottom, there was a screaming, chopping mummy. It would just basically walk back and forth, just with its axe. And if you happen to get caught by it, you're dead. But if you, and you can't do anything to that chopping mummy until you wipe out all the creatures that are flying around. You do that, and you get transported to another scene where you're on a floor and there's all these coffins around. And there's also a moving wall. Wall flattens you, you're dead. You can actually touch it from the other side when it's going the other way and get points. But what you're trying to do is open the coffins and find a crucifix. And, yeah.
I'm jumping the gun, I'm sure, but when does the creepy cloak and hat guy come into play?
Oh, I'll get to him.
Gotcha.
So on the second floor, same thing, except just a little more claustrophobic. Yeah, more coffins. One of them has a crucifix. You're given one automatically. So you can get a total of 3. And once you exit the second floor, you're on the top floor. This is where your cloak and hat guy come in.
There we go.
That's Dracula.
I thought he was the actual Drac himself.
Mhm.
Trying to think, is that the only game where we'll be mentioning Dracula? Oh no, it won't be. Okay, yeah,
Nope.
carry on.
So you'll see your friend imprisoned in one of the cells in the upper left. There's two of them. What you have to do is get under Dracula, and when you press the button, what it'll do is it'll cause the crucifix to go ahead and repel him, and you have to guide him into one of the two cells. And when that happens, when you get him safely in prison, your friend will come down acting like a zombie. You just have to get them to the stairs going down. If you do that, you get a little happy ending theme, and the manor and the cemetery sink into the ground, and you're both standing there, and everything's happy.
Yes, good for you.
Yep. And when you die, you get the same scene, except this time you too sink into the ground as well, because you're both dead.
And it also
Yep.
plays.
The funeral dirge.
I actually think that game over is a little bit creepy because when you just die and get eaten up by the earth, like everything's just quiet, just freezes on the fields, and there's nothing there, and like just blank, dead. That's that is somewhat unsettling as far as again very early horror games are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure that this would be the basis of like a modern horror game. I remember there was this modern one where you're playing like an LCD game that actually gets really creepy, but then like at the end you have to go like change the batteries, but like the evil thing in the game is trying to kill you while you're doing that. I can't even remember what it's called. Summer something or other. But yeah.
Now, there was one other game, and it was made by this total fly-by-night company called Data Age.
Fly-by-night away from you.
I said Data Age. You're thinking of fly-by-night. Wrong stream.
Yeah, that was some weeks back. That's true.
Yes. Anyway, the only games that Data Age is really known for, besides this one, is a game based on the band Journey.
Ah, yeah, the shifty-eyed promoters.
Yep, the mighty manager. Without going, yeah, without going into too much detail, what you have to do is dodge a whole bunch of nuts with each member of the band and get to the Scarab escape vehicle. Rescue all 5 members of the group, and they play a really off-key rendition of Don't Stop Believing, and the Scarab vehicle flies around, and that's about it. Still kind of fun, though.
Yeah, no, I enjoy it for what it is. Certainly not as diverse as the Journey arcade game from 1983, but it's not a bad little title.
No.
It tries.
Anyway, this Data Age was mainly known for making games like Snake and Warp Lock and Airlock and Encounter at L5, all of which pretty much suck. They had one other good game besides Journey, and that was Frankenstein's Monster.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically like Pitfall, except you're trying to stop Frankenstein's monster from being created. So,
pretty much.
Yeah, you go up and down between levels, and hey, how's it going? So it's pretty straightforward, but it just, it's pretty cool when you actually when the monster gets finished, it actually like comes right out of the screen at you.
I do remember that. Again, creepy first time for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, it's going all right. We had to postpone the Evil Dead stream, so now we're just doing one about retro horror.
Yeah, again, but we are talking about games that we wouldn't really have much of a space to talk about otherwise, so decent mea culpa, I think, /hope.
Yep. Now, that pretty much wraps it up for the classic 20th Century Horror games. There might have been one or two more I just can't think of. But I do want to throw this in, too. There's a game which was recently released by Atari Age called Tober's Nightmare. And it is a very Halloween-themed game.
Oh.
It's like you play this kid, and you wake up one night to find like ghosts and evil trees and stuff all parading around your front yard. So what you have to do is there's this phantom gardener, I think they call him. He goes around and he waters the lawn across from your house behind a fence and creates pumpkins. So you have to run down, get the pumpkins, chuck them at the things in the yard, and then get back in the house. And then the gardener comes out, grows some more pumpkins, and eventually you get Halloween treats like candy corn and whatnot to show up. It's a pretty fun little game.
That does sound pretty cool, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for the 2600. So let's move ahead a generation, kind of. We got to talk Monster Party.
That was like my chief reason for suggesting this idea because, like,
you wanted to use that avatar you have. That was your reason.
It's really fucking creepy. I've always been fantastically disturbed by the Chameleon Man, as I believe he's unofficially known as. Or officially, rather. Yes, which I mean, it's creepy enough to have this like green bleeding face, but for context, I should also note that you are in a room full of all these rotting, bloody faces, and the Chameleon Man is like shifting subtly under this very bizarre, morbid wallpaper. And there are like several clones of him. You have to hit the real one. This is a little bit of trial and error, but like it is maybe the most disturbing moment of a game that certainly has them, but mostly plays its horror pretty goofily. Yeah. So
it could basically almost be a companion piece to one Pocket Graffiti.
That's not a bad way of putting it. That is, in fact, a very good way of putting it.
Also, what game are you referring to, Sharon? We've already talked about 4 of them. We're on Monster Party now.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I forgot. There was the Halloween and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game on there. That's right.
Yeah, but they both kind of sucked.
Yeah, although it is in my head forever that when Leatherface's chainsaw runs out of gas, it's like the girl you're trying to kill just runs up and kicks you off the screen, which is one of the greatest game overs in all of game history. They got that right out the gate so early.
I'm also going to say this. Seeing what happens after Michael Myers decapitates your character in Halloween will never not be funny.
Yes, that too.
They just kind of wander off screen, their arms flail around. These 2 little, like 4 little blood pixels just kind of shoot out of their neck.
That's almost not to rub it in. That's almost more like something you'd see in the Evil Dead series.
Exactly. Hellraiser. I remember reading about it, and a lot of things changed. Eventually, they lost the license. They decided they couldn't do the kind of graphics they wanted on the NES because it came off as more comical than gory. And it just basically got stuck in development hell until they lost the rights.
Yeah. What wasn't it? Wasn't it by, like, going to be like Wisdom Tree or some BS, or did I make that part up?
Well, it wouldn't have been under Wisdom Tree label. That wouldn't have been very Christian.
Yeah. Well, Color Dreams or whatever. Yeah. Yes. That's fucking bonkers. Yes.
There was a Color Dreams ad.
Oh my gosh.
But it just never happened. So, Hellraiser got stuck in development hell, where it wasn't doing any raising. Anyway. But back to Monster Party. I had to pick the pumpkin ghost. Because he acts like a wuss, and he's like one of the worst bosses in the first stage, if not the worst.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's pretty much just a war of attrition. You have no room to dodge him advancing on you. You can really just you cannot jump over him. You only just have to hit him faster than he kills you, and like What the hell do they expect me to do with that?
Yeah, I know, right? But, I always like how he looked. So,
Yeah.
and he's appropriate for Halloween, too, so.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
Now, if I'm not mistaken, from the prototype version of this game, that actually, in the Japanese version, was supposed to be a monkey riding a horse in reference to Planet of the Apes,
mm-hmm,
correct?
it was a Planet of the Apes parody.
Yep.
Sharon, if you're talking about that Halloween game that I mentioned at the end of the 20 section, that was called Tober's Nightmare.
Mm.
So, I'll tell you
I
more
thought you
about it
said
later.
I thought you said Cobra's Nightmare. My bad.
No, Tober.
Gotcha. That makes more sense. We're not talking about any nightmares of any Sylvester Stallone characters in this case.
Yeah. Now, of course, it's holdovers from the original setup I did here. We have Mark and Bird on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of hard to miss Bird. He's the only one flying.
Yep. And Mark apparently has a baseball vet that's good enough to
That,
vanquish the
better.
forces of evil.
Anything's okay.
Such a goofy setup. This game is stupid from the offset, and it knows what it is, I think.
I love how it opens. It's just like that
Yeah.
first stage. So after you see the skeleton soaking in blood, and all of a sudden you're in Happy Land, where there's all these smiling, happy faces everywhere, and everything is so cheerful, except for the flaming Japanese schoolboys and the legs sticking out of the ground that you have to spank with your
Yes.
bat.
Yes, the pantsless legs.
And then halfway through the stage, you come to the Hanawa cactus.
Mm-hmm.
Take one step beyond it, lightning flashes, and everything fucking melts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just, you see those happy faces, and they're just bloody skulls now. And then the
Yes.
enemies get weirder, because you got that eyeball with the tentacle legs, and the human-headed dogs and stuff.
Yeah. Very 70s Invasion of the Body Snatcher coded there.
Yeah. And then, as the game goes on, sure, you get some standard kind of stages, but the enemies just are weird. Like the umbrella bats.
Mm-hmm.
And
What other? Oh yeah, the possessed pairs of pants just running around on their own. I really like that
yes.
one.
One of my favorites is in the lake stage where you see this huge shark fin in the water, and when the shark jumps out to attack you, it's a little tiny shark wearing a giant fin.
Yeah, I remember that. This game is just it is a straight up horror comedy. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it has its moments of genuine creepiness, like the Chameleon Man that I picked there, but for the most part, it knows what it is. It's just being goofy, and while it is severely downplayed in the final version released in the West, it was also for its time intended to be a parody of many different movies, mostly reflected through its bosses, and some of that still is in the final game.
Yeah.
Like the plant that the very first boss, the plant that's essentially Audrey 2.
Hello, baby.
And and the freaking fried food that attacks you with the teleporters from the fly in the background.
Mm-hmm.
It was pointed out to me many years later that's supposed to be the fry,
Yep.
so to speak, which that is just such an amazing unspoken pun. I'm angry I didn't pick up on it earlier.
Plus, there's a couple of references to Japanese legends and manga that we wouldn't have gotten here. So it went over our heads. Like the water, the what's it
well?
called? The well boss. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on a legend about a servant girl, apparently, where she killed herself in a well, and she's counting plates for whatever reason I've forgotten, and she counts too many, and that's when the well attacks you.
Yeah. More blatantly apparent is that one of the bosses is just a giant samurai armor who says, "I am a
slowpoke." And then there's the looks like a caterpillar. I'm pretty sure it's a reference to a manga. But of course, when they brought it out over here, they decided to make a pun out of his name. He says, "I'm Royce," and then he proceeds to roll around the stage, try and kill you. So, see, his name is Royce, and he rolls Royce. Get it? Oh boy!
There we go.
Thank you.
I was fumbling around for that, but yeah.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Just try the veal.
But it's just, and the ending of the game is definitely worth mentioning too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everything's done. You've beaten the final boss, and Bert gives Mark a present, and when he opens it up, a beautiful princess comes out. Next thing you know, it starts decaying right in front of you, and all these, horrible spirits start flying around, and then Mark starts to decay and turn into a zombie or something, and then he wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
It was all a dream. He goes to head out the door, and when he opens the door, there's Mark standing there.
You mean Bert?
Bert, yes. Bert's standing there with Mark's bat in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Want to go again?
And I remember Marge saying, the Simpsons say, "Here we go again, go again."
Yeah. So the Sorry I'm Dead boss is based on a Bandai model kit. I think it's named Torgaran.
Yeah, I remember. It was based off of some sort of action figure-y thingy. It was a specific reference to some sort of Japanese figure. Yes, then, yeah, that sounds familiar. Yes.
Now, something else to remember when it comes to the U.S. version was that what the Xenomorph boss in the unreleased Japanese one is turned into the Grim Reaper in this one, and it actually says, "Welcome, entrance to hell."
Yeah, not a word you commonly see on a release in the West NES game. This is supposed to be for children, isn't it? Oh, someone please think of the children.
Step into the shadows of the Hell House.
Yes, that too.
You're going to fight against me, you damn fool.
Thank you, Master D, quote unquote.
Hey, Prime, if you can, go ahead and zing those pictures by.
I remember seeing it at some point, but I forget exactly what it looked like. But it is dead on, exactly like the thing that you see on the NES.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Monster Party. I have to say, on a personal note, back when my brother and I had gotten our NES back in '89, and we started getting games for it, he was the one who bought Monster Party.
Nice.
And I wasn't really all that interested until I played it. And as time went on, we basically shifted perspectives, because he really liked it at first, and he was like, "I'm not really crazy about this anymore." And I'm like, "This game is awesome."
Well, I did... sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, for a while I referred to myself as Monster Party's biggest fan. But now you were saying?
I mean, I do have to admit, on an objective sense, the game is pretty flawed. Normally your attack range is very short, and a good deal of bosses mostly boil down to attrition. The Pumpkin one's one of the worst offenders in that sense. Most of the others are merciful, but for the most part, you are just trying to outbat them before your life meter runs out. And the game is arbitrary on how much life it'll actually give you.
Yeah.
Like health items do sometimes drop from enemies. Sometimes pills that turn you into Bert, who can fly and shoot, basically making him a power-up form of Mark. That's really nice whenever that happens, but again, it is completely random. And you don't have any real special sort of acrobatic moves to get around the stages. I mean, you're just a boy with a bat most of the time. So it certainly doesn't play as fresh as Ninja Gaiden or Vice Project Doom, but I do readily understand it's not trying to be those games. It just does feel probably a little bit stiff to most people who are, used to more faster paced games like the one I mentioned. But this is a rare case where I don't want to bitch too much about the gameplay because the style and the charm it exudes is really its major winning asset. And it's just got so much of that in spades that I still love this game because of it.
I'm going to agree with you on that, but I want to add one additional negative.
Stage 6. Fuck Stage 6.
You said it. It's a maze stage. No. No.
It does have those pairs of pants I mentioned, and the Chameleon Man boss who's my avatar, which is the only stage where he's the only boss in there. But that stage can bite my ass, and it is easily the biggest roadblock whenever I think about replaying the game. I'm like, do I really want to go through that maze stage today? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, that part is a huge pain in the ass. Monster Party is not perfect. Po Buddy's nerfed and whatnot, but even despite its flaws, it's just freaking fun. It does feel kind of like unintentional or no. It does feel like a sister game to Wanpaku Graffiti in several ways, and if I'm not mistaken, it was an early title by the very eclectic and quirky Human Entertainment, correct?
You're right.
Who would later go on to make Clock Tower, which is a game that I consider about talking about today, but we're thinking we'll save that for a more concentrated potential survival horror stream someday, or something of that.
We'll see about that.
Yes.
Anyway, but yes, Monster Party is fun. On that note, we're going to move on to our next game, which would be the one you're going to take point on here, Mike, Zombie Nation.
Yes, good old Namakubi, the great head of the samurai, the literal freaking floating head of the samurai, those cheeky bastards. Zombie Nation is a shoot-'em-up by a couple of companies by the name of Meldak and Kaze that are just freaking weird. I do know they later went on to make several virtual pinball titles, oddly enough, but the premise of Zombie Nation is that some aliens evil energy waves or whatever that it radiates turns everyone in the United States of America into a zombie, but these waves also wake up all the way over in Japan for some reason. Okay, maybe this wasn't just in America. I forget where that zombie head came from, but nonetheless, this giant, gross-looking, orange Japanese man head flies out, and then he floats all around America, destroying everything with
extreme
projected with projected eyeball blasts and explosive barf, it looks like, and it's pretty much the game in a nutshell. It's freaking weird and stupid.
Well, I know in Japan it was it wasn't a samurai head. It was what are those things called?
Tengu mask.
That's it.
Or a Japanese goblin mask, as I think the emoji system calls it. But yeah, over there it was known as Abarenbo Tengu, and you play as a more cartoony-looking old man Tengu mask, which is red instead of orange. The gameplay is the same, but pretty much nothing has changed except that the first boss, which is the Statue of Liberty, I'm not kidding. In the Japanese version, it looks red. In the Western version, it looks blue, and for some reason, its crown is turned into a head of snakes a la Medusa, because, sure, why not?
Yeah. It's a weird one. I suck at it. I'll just be blatantly honest. I'm terrible at that game. Anyone who's watched the video that Betty and I did years ago has seen this.
To be fair, it is very weird for shmup standards. You're hitbox is huge, and your controls are extremely loose. Like, there's a lot of inertia on where you move. It's very unwieldy. It feels less like you're controlling a conventional shoot 'em up ship like jet fighter or whatever, like the Vic Viper or what have you. More just like a flying, almost hot air balloon with an iron balloon on it. It's a weird feeling, to say the least. Even I don't think I'm fully used to it for as much as I play the game. It just does feel kind of deliberately sloppy, for lack of a better word. But to make up for that weirdness, you can take a lot of damage, like a lot, surprisingly. You even have this health bar represented by a bunch of floating heads on the bottom of the screen. So,
Even with that, I still suck at it.
Yeah, it doesn't help that several stages have like lasers or giant blasts of smog or whatever that can instantly reduce your health to 1 if you run into them, and you're just getting tapped by a bullet after that kills you, and then that's all there is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You do get several you only get 1 life, but you do get several continues, I think like 5 or 6, and you can get more as you go over the game.
Also, Sharon wanted to tell you she got Death Smiles 1 and 2 for the Switch.
Nice. I haven't played 2 yet, but the first game was quite good, and actually pretty merciful for a shoot-'em-up. I was very surprised that somehow I hadn't played it for a really long time, and then I found it in an actual arcade.
That's still impressive.
Still exists. Yeah, they still exist, believe it or not. And then I picked the Glasses Girl, and somehow I 1CC'd the game. I don't know. The first time I played that, like, I'm alright at shmups, but I don't usually 1CC them, much less a cave game. So
yeah.
I guess this one was just really generous in its systems or whatever. As a caveat, though, I didn't reach the true final boss, as some of these games have, but, like, other than that, for my first time playing the game, that was uncommonly freaking good.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, I like Death Smiles quite a bit, and it does. I would say it's somewhat Halloweenish in its theming. It does have some creepy things in it, but more like a sort of fantasy storybook sort of way. Like,
it's interesting because in the first game, the first stage is called Halloween Town.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That is a good point, yes. Mm-hmm. My memories are a little fuzzy of it, but that does line up. It's crazy that the second game is an outright Christmas game, though. That's bonkers. Mm-hmm. But that being said, for the games that I laid out, I didn't want to go too much more past the fourth. I didn't want to go too much farther past the 90s, and I didn't want to include any licensed titles either, so I almost thought about discussing new Ghostbusters 2, but we're not going to do that for now, I don't think.
And sorry, folks, we're also skipping Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th for the NES, so if you had hopes
I'm sure you're disappointed.
Yeah, not happening.
Yep. And hey there, Aris, what's up?
Hey, Aris.
Welcome.
Yeah. We're just talking retro horror. It's that time of year, after all.
And I was talking about Zombie Nation, which it's not a great game. Technically, it is kind of a kusoge. It's clunky. It does feel a little bit unfair unless you've had some practice with it. And it does have a very inconsistent difficulty curve, like... well, all stages are somewhat difficult to an extent, but I just remember the second boss of the game is definitely the hardest boss, and it's not even close, because his axes and himself can easily kill you in one hit. No other boss is quite that heinous as far as I remember. I remember the actual final boss is... like, just kind of a straight-up anti-climax, which, I guess would be in line with the Gradius or what have you, but It is a weird one, to say the least. It mostly just kind of gets by on its premise for the most part. Even so, most of the enemies you fight aren't like all that crazy go nuts. Mostly it's just like a bunch of like planes and helicopters, presumably piloted by zombies trying to kill you. But I do find it funny that how you power up is that you presumably eat these. Maybe there's on fire, maybe not. Well, these humans that fly out, you just run into them and you get enough and you get to spit out more eyeballs and barf. And I just kind of like to think in my head that you're actually eating them to feed your own power or something like that.
Now, Brandon, you mentioned Euro games. Are you specifically talking about European developed Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th games? Because if so, I've never played them. Unless you're talking about the ones that like Rare did Nightmare for the NES.
Yeah, I do remember that the Commodore 64 had a Friday the 13th game on it. I mostly remember this. Oh, hey, Saphira, what's up?
Yeah, hi, Zero. What's going on?
Hey, good to see you. I mostly remember Friday the 13th on the C64 because it generates an extremely horrifying and realistic-ish sounding scream whenever like a character's found dead or whatever. And the sound is just so terrible that my friend Bobinator, who you know Bobinator, right?
I know Bob.
Yeah, he refuses to play the game just because of that sound and how jump scary it is, and I don't blame him. It's actually really disturbing.
Nice.
But, you know, if a horror game's going to be horrific, then, you know, bonus points to that. But I don't really remember much about how that game functions. I didn't even know if there was a Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, I didn't know there was one on the C64. I do know there was one on, like, DOS PCs based off of the third movie. That it sort of plays out a little bit like Gauntlet, as I remember, or at least in its perspective. And it has some interesting ideas, but it's apparently really bullshit difficult. So,
now, while we're covering 8-bit horror games, I do want to bring one up very briefly, mainly because there's only one like it on the entire console, and that would be Midnight Mutants for the Atari 7800.
Ooh, hey! Damn, I didn't even think to include that one. Good call.
You'd think it's a licensed game because it stars, and keep in mind, they never once refer to him as Grandpa Munster. It's just Grandpa.
Yeah, what's very blatantly Al Lewis on the cover and also in the game. They somehow have his likeness, but who knows if that was officially obtained.
Probably
not. Okay, that's fucking crazy. I mean, I don't want to believe it, but it's just like, wow.
Anyway, it's also the closest thing you're going to get to a Legend of Zelda type of game for the 7800. You play this 80s looking guy who's trying to help Grandpa because he's been imprisoned in a plasmic pumpkin by Dr. Evil. And the only way Dr. Evil will let him go is if he gets paid $1 million.
$1 million? I was hoping he'd go that way. Probably not.
This Dr. Evil was banished during the Salem witch trials or something like that, and now he's back, and for no apparent reason, during the opening, he's like, "Take that, Gramps!" And next thing you know, Grandpa gets turned into a pumpkin, and it's like, how'd they even know each other?
Maybe your grandpa's just really that old. I have no idea.
Oh, it could be. Let's see. Is it Pharaoh? Oh. Well, let's see. If you're wondering about limits for the Halloween games here, well, we're basically just talking about ones we know about the most.
Yeah, which mostly come from the 8 and 16-bit era, although Rob did talk about a few from the 2600 to start.
Which is technically 8-bit.
Wow, I always thought it was 4-bit. I'm freaking stupid.
I don't think there's such a thing as a 4-bit console.
Well, okay then. Today I learned.
So, but it's an interesting game. It's also extremely hard. There's no save system. You get one life and no continues.
Talking about Midnight Mutants?
Yeah. So
I think I remember either I tried it or someone I know got really far into it, but the final fight against Doctor Evil just had him like spamming a lot of projectiles out of his ears, and I don't think they were able to beat him.
also, he looks kind of like Count Chocula in that final battle.
He does,
Well,
yes.
there's only 3 bosses in the entire game, and they're all really impressive looking because they take up the
Yeah,
entire screen.
Yeah, the first one is this big ram skull, which is really creepy, and the second one is a big human skeleton that fires eyeballs at you, if I'm not mistaken. Which, what's with firing eyeball projectiles? That's apparently a theme tonight.
I don't know. And then, of course, the last boss is Dr. Evil himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, he is extremely difficult to beat, but I guess it's doable. Like the game being not somewhat non-linear as it is very impressive, but that is really harsh. You only have one life to actually beat it, though.
Yeah, and you have on top of that your life meter and your blood purity meter.
Blood purity?
Yeah.
I don't remember that factor.
If that goes down to 0, regardless how much life you have left, you're dead.
So it's kind of like a timer, kind of, sort of?
Well, it doesn't go down by itself. It basically only if you get attacked by certain creatures, which are everywhere.
So you have a life meter, but you have like a reverse life meter. So you got like a double life meter or something.
Kind of. I don't know why they did it that way, but
that is a really fucking weird mechanic. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm also gonna say too, it's set up in kind of a 3/4 isometric perspective, and that just doesn't really work all that well, I don't think.
I do remember that factor about it. Yes. The impression I'm sort of getting from you, correct me if I'm wrong, but like it's got some impressive ideas in it, and it looks really cool. But mechanically, it is somewhat bizarre and not always to your liking for that.
Yes.
Okay.
I will say it seems to be a favorite. I'm on the Atari Age forum, and there is always people clamoring to have that game brought back. They just take out Al Lewis's likeness and re-release it with something else. No, we won't be covering any of those.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about Mortal Kombat, but I'm not sure it's in so much Halloween themed, just as it is really bloody.
Yeah.
So, what would count, however, are the Darkstalkers games. But I know we want to talk about fighting games for real some other day, so I'm going to withhold that bullet for now.
And this is less Halloween games and more retro horror, anyway.
Yeah.
And Mortal Kombat is not a game I'd ever considered horror. Just really, really bloody.
Oh, yes.
So, and I've heard of Half-Life, never played it, heard of it. Apparently they won't do a third one. And I know nothing about the second game that was mentioned.
The Tales of series, Tales of Fantasia and so forth, that's what that's part of, if you've at least heard of those.
I have. We're not talking about Jersey Devil either, sorry.
Oh yeah, that was on the PS1.
We could have brought up Medieval for that matter.
Yeah, that's one I feel like I really should have played at some point.
I did once. Well, a couple times, but, typical early 3D PS1 game.
For better or worse.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Exactly.
But yeah, I did want to say that the Tales of series a gigantic blind spot for me, and I don't really know a lot about them, so I don't really have anything to say on them, and sorry about that.
Yeah, I've heard of the series myself, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead and move on from Midnight Mutants. One of my favorites, and I do not usually like graphic adventures. But for some reason, this is one of the two that really grabbed me. We're talking about Uninvited.
This is the good shit. This is one you freaking talk about for an October game stream. Like, it is legitimately one of the few outright horror games I could think of on the NES that is completely and totally deliberate. Although I say, quote unquote, for the NES, and of course it's one of the Icom Mac ventures that was originally made for the Macintosh, so it's been ported to other things. But like you and I'm mostly familiar with those games from the Chemco ports on the NES of those games. So
yeah,
for all intents and purposes, it's a NES horror game for reals.
Well, there's a few of the close-ups when you die that you could almost count them as jump scares.
Especially the zombie in the maze. Holy shit! Where are the sensors on that one?
Rotting flesh and all. Yeah.
Who thought that, the kids that they were ostensibly trying to market the console to wouldn't have complete fucking nightmares about that half skeletonized zombie head?
And, half of the horror comes from the descriptions.
Oh yeah, early on, the infamous Southern Belle Ghost who absolutely rips off your face.
Yep.
Oh yeah, she is probably an initial nightmare for anyone who played the game not knowing what to expect, and it doesn't help that you can't explore a large chunk of the game until you get around her, and it's not 100% obvious at first what to do, but... Yeah, it's that type of game.
Now, it does balance out the horror with some interesting things like the dancing monster.
Yeah, the little red goblin guy who you have to lure out with a cookie. I like him.
It's always great. He just dances through holding the key, and he's like, "What's up?" And he just keeps going.
And the description's like, you have to reliably question your eyes at this point. Like, you think that you're like hallucinating from the weirdness of this mansion, but no, that happened, and you gotta actually get that key for I forget what was it, like the one that you used to get into like the atrium or whatever. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's something like that. Okay, that is I had no idea Half-Life had that kind of a convoluted history.
Yeah, and a couple of those I think are even like unofficial mods that are that actually have some genuine detail really put into them. But since Rob has like Half-Life would, I think, qualify to an extent as a horror game because it's about interdimensional aliens invading and bloodily massacring everyone at a science research facility, and then the Marines get involved, and their orders are to kill anybody who's seen these creatures, so it just goes from bad to worse. And it for its time was a really fascinating way to craft an atmosphere in a first-person shooter. I still really like it a lot myself today. But what's that?
Why does that story remind me of Doom?
Well, it probably did take a few cues from Doom, but infamously, John Carmack is noted to not really give a shit about the concept of story and plot in a video game. Half-Life was more focused on the story, and it didn't even try to overcomplicate things. It just sort of played things out like being just a straight-up horror yarn, and it kept it simple, and it was very thrilling for the atmosphere it offered, and it's still considered quite a classic today. And yes, Zaf is right. Doom did also bring its demons into hell because of unscrupulous teleportation experiments, which makes me wonder, like, when will they learn?
Yeah. Anyway, though, back to Uninvited. We'll finish this one out.
Yes.
There's other things, too, like the ghost who's afraid of spiders.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was an unlikely weakness, to say the least.
Yeah. And then there's... ultimately, all of it, you're trying to find, in the NES game at least, you're trying to find your sister.
That's right.
It's like your car crashed at the end of the game, You wake up. If you don't get out of the car in time, it explodes. But your sister, who was with you in the car, is gone, and the only place she could have gone is in this old, dilapidated southern mansion.
Mm-hmm.
So you follow her in, and honestly, they did one of the most insidious things ever in a game. They let you pick up an item that will kill you, but they don't tell you what it is really, other than just the basic description. It's a ruby.
Yeah, a freebie if you play the NES version. Don't pick up that ruby ever. In fact, forget it exists.
Yeah.
If you come across it,
just leave it there. Ain't worth it.
Well, Rob, I have good news if you're playing any other version. Rob?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, I have good news if you're playing any other version of the game. That ruby's not there. You can't pick it up. And it won't screw you over. The bad news is that every other version has a fixed timer on it, as if you would have had the ruby. So, the NES version is much more merciful in that regard. I mean, I think the default timer is more generous than if you were to pick up the ruby, but the fact that you have a cosmic deadline hanging over you makes me tend to prefer the NES version as a result of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, in answer to the questions here, we're not going to be talking about Spawn because, like Prime said, we are avoiding licensed games. And as far as Silent Hill, that needs its own stream.
Yeah, Silent Hill is too much to cover on its own, though I've only played the first 3 games at this point.
Silent Hill is not a licensed game.
No, it's an original property made by Konami. Team Silent was specifically formed for it.
Yeah.
There were a couple of movies based off of it, but those movies came out after at least the first 3 games did. I think even the first 4.
Yeah.
So,
but honestly, that'd be like asking if we're going to cover Resident Evil in this. Well, we can cover both of those if you guys have about 12 hours to kill.
Absolutely. If we can gather up some other people who can talk about, because no offense, Rob, I know you're completely bupkis for the series.
I like the first Silent Hill and the first Resident Evil, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, Zap, we are going to talk about King of Demons. Don't worry. I don't know if we're still on the NES or what. Mm-hmm. Uninvited, though, it is a really neat horror adventure that I couldn't say if I like it more than Shadowgate, which is also an Icon Mac venture ported by Kemco, but it has some very good stuff. I mean, it does have some obtuse thingies in it, but I do think it's relatively fair compared to, like, your typical Sierra screw you venture that isn't obvious about things and will throw you into the Walking Dead locker like a schoolyard bully. But now, Uninvited is pretty darn good. I don't want to say too much more about it because those sorts of games are best enjoyed unspoiled, but it is a heck of a time.
So that being said, let's move on to another game which I really wanted to like, but it just was lacking in a lot of different areas. That would be Frankenstein the Monster Returns for the NES. It was Japanese developed but only released in the US.
Oh, well, that's at least nominally interesting for what it's worth.
Mm-hmm. But it was just, I don't know. The controls were pretty bad, I thought. The hit detection in particular, it's like I just didn't
more like shit detection.
Yes, thank you.
yes. I'm gonna aggrandize myself for that one.
I mean, there were some cool visuals in the game and whatnot, but it was just like Castlevania if your weapon was Simon Belmont's fist. With the same kind of range and everything at first. It takes forever to go ahead and actually, get a decent weapon. and then you can lose said weapon.
That's just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to admit, I don't even know why I brought this one up to potentially talk about. I haven't played it much, and yeah, it is the very definition of a 5 or 6 out of 10 action game. Like, it feels like it should kind of be something like a quote-unquote hidden gem up there with, like, Vice Project Doom or Shatterhand or what have you, but it just doesn't... Something just feels off about it. It never really grokked how it controls. And it's frustrating because it feels like it has the potential to be good. It just somehow just does not freaking qualify as good, in my opinion.
So have you
if there are any ardent defenders of Frankenstein the Monster Returns who want to dispute my claim that it isn't good, go ahead, but I'm not sure I'll believe you.
Yeah, I've seen the occasional YouTuber saying about how it's a hidden gem and it's a great game and all this, and I'm like, are we playing the same game here?
They can't all be little Samson guys. Come on, like,
exactly.
Yeah, I know there's a finite amount of games on the NES, but let's not pretend. Let's not pretend that McDonald's hamburger is filet mignon here. Come on.
Mm-hmm. That being said, we're going to tackle one more. I hesitate to say NES, even though it did get an official release later on, kind of.
Yeah.
But it was for the Famicom, and it was one of the first Famicom games I ever imported. Well, I didn't really import it, but it kind of... I found it along with Gradius 2 in a small game shop I used to go to all the time. And its resemblance to Castlevania, I just saw it and was like, I want to pick this up. So I did. And the game, after playing it for a while, I determined the game was actually programmed by Satan. That would be Irem's Holy Diver. It's like, it's a great game. Good music, good controls. It's fun to play, but it is hard. It's like Irem took everything they learned about making hard shooters and turned it into a platform game.
Pretty much, yeah.
You've actually beaten the game, Mike. True?
Somehow I have, yeah. I spent like 3 entire hours sitting my ass down in my bed trying to actually beat the thing, and I did eventually succeed, and this was on an actual NES too. Thankfully it held together long enough and didn't F out on me while I was doing all of that, but boy, was it worth it? I don't know. That is the question.
Dino City? When did we get to Disneyland?
Isn't that a game on the SNES that I think Irem also was involved in that one, but I don't quite remember.
That might have been.
It's like Holy Diver does have some cool things going for it. Like, it looks pretty neat. It very obviously looks like it's definitely... Yeah, it was made by Irem, right? There's the one I'm thinking of. I know it got coverage in like a Nintendo Power issue in the 40s, but I've never touched it myself, so I don't really know what to say about it. But yeah, Holy Diver does look really neat. It is very obviously trying to bite off of Castlevania, but like, it's got enough of its own, like, somewhat medieval charm about it. I know it was like based on a lot of 80s heavy metal, like,
was it ever?
Like, the names mentioned in the story, like, you're Randy, based on a former rest in peace Ozzy Osbourne guitarist Randy Rhoads, and like I think like Ronnie or whatever is mentioned at some point. I think Ozzy actually is mentioned. Like the big bad is known as like the Slayer, the Dark Slayer or whatever. And like several 80s metal bands are just name checked somewhat randomly, but like, I'm all for it. It does add to the atmosphere, and yeah, the game does almost sort of have like an 80s metal cover aesthetic to it. Like anything that's like vaguely medieval, that would qualify for that. Like that large demon on the front of Dio's cover of Holy Diver. It's
Yeah.
like something like that is sort of kind of what I think this game was getting at with its aesthetic.
Man, input handling
And
fix, huh? That's interesting. I never found the game hard to control.
huh, its controls, yeah, they're maybe not as tight as like Castlevania, but you know, I mean, for the most part, you know, it controls decently enough. It's just the game tends to bombard you with a lot of enemies that either take too much punishment and or just move around really annoyingly out of your reach. As I recall, I also remember like one of the bosses, you only have like two small platforms to stand on, and if you get hit once, you basically go careening into the void, and that is just the
Yeah.
fakest difficulty bullshit ever.
Yep.
Uh, like anything that you can think a platformer would do that qualifies in the screw you platformers 101 textbook, it will probably do that. Like lots of pits to get knocked into, just a lot of really annoying spongy enemies, stage hazards that you sometimes need to specifically use magic for that you may or may not have the points to do so. It has been a long time since I played, so I couldn't really tell you the details, but I do know this game is just considered infamously difficult, more so even than your conventional Castlevania game. Like, this game's difficulty really does make Castlevania 3 look downright normally beatable to most in comparison.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a real war hell ride, as the late great Wesley Willis would have said.
Yep. Now,
But
if you look on screen here, you'll see the main character from Holy Diver. He's about the fourth from the left.
yes, that's Randy there in the. Yep, that's him.
And let's see here. Seems to not handle button presses properly when two or more happen on the same frame.
Oh,
I don't really ever remember encountering that, but it's certainly possible.
oh, I'm sure it was a problem. Like, I'm sure the game had enough errors in its design that made it harder than it should have been. But I do also know that Irem is usually in the business of making real screw you games as well. I
Are
mean,
they ever?
I don't want to touch R-Type 2 again anytime soon, for example. Maybe I dump on that one too much, but seriously, at that last stage and those yellow assholes, I do not want to go back there. But like I want to like Holy Diver more, to be sure, but I think it is just a little bit too ridiculous for most normal people to approach. Like only real masochists need apply, and depending on the day, I may fall into that roster, but I haven't wanted to play it in a while since I beat it. I'm glad I did. I think it was worth doing that, and it wasn't the hardest bullshit thing that I've ever done. It wasn't as bad for me as trying to beat the arcade Gunsmoke. That hours instead of 3. I'm not fucking kidding. But yeah, I'm good with not touching Holy Diver again. Also, the boss music is fucking atrocious. I just wanted to mention that offhand.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Just so you know, Mike, one thing.
Yeah.
For the most part, your voice is coming through clear, but there is a little bit of clipping when you get particularly vocal about something.
Yeah, that's just my. There's probably like ever since I got this damn new mic, there's always something that I have to adjust for each new stream. It just doesn't stay evergreen in one agreeable spot, and that's just so fucking annoying to me. Is that am I just bad at programming this shit? I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, though, Holy Diver. It's a decent game. It's just really friggin' hard. So, before we finally jump into what I'm sure everyone's waiting for, which is all the 16-bit stuff, and nearly 16-bit, yeah, it's weird boss music. It really is. But let's take a brief pit stop on the Sega Master System with the Europe and Brazilian-only release Master of Darkness, which did come out in the U.S. on the Game Gear, which is how I first played it, as Vampire Master of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
It is very unabashedly a Castlevania clone. There's just no two ways about it. And the main character's name is Dr. Ferdinand Social. Look out, world's dumbest video game name, or video game character name. Whatever. It's like there's a new contender for that title.
Yeah.
Ferdinand Social. Anyway.
Yeah.
The only things that really changed around from Castlevania, because the controls basically completely the same. You fight Dracula at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Ferdinand Social.
Yep, that's exactly how it's spelled. We're not joking. That's actually his freaking name.
He's a doctor. It does take place in Victorian England.
Yeah, 19th century, and I believe the first stage takes place on the River Thames and all that.
Yes, and the first boss is Jack the Ripper himself. You wish to hinder me? He talks like a pirate for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason, yes. I have no idea why that is.
And I will give the second stage a lot of credit, because you don't see this thing in games usually. The House of Wax Dolls.
Yeah, that's setup you think would be more common, but no, that's a really cool level. Yeah, no, this game has some pretty neat set design to it. It's just the atmosphere just really is like it's unique enough from Castlevania. I think that it manages to stand out with its Britishness, so to speak, or as British as a Japanese design game can be with its horror anyway.
Yep. But, of course, it was designed by the Japanese.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, who was it? The Sims, maybe? I can't recall. Anyway, it's only 4 stages long, and it is actually pretty easy.
5 stages.
5 stages? Oh, that's right. The last stage is a separate thing. It's just one big stage. It's like a maze almost, but it's a really easy to navigate maze. So it doesn't have the same kind of stupidity that Monster Party did with its maze stage.
Yeah, thankfully not. It is a lot more merciful. It's more fixed in how it's built for the most part. So
yeah. So if you like Castlevania and you want to play something like it on the Master System, you can do a lot worse. You can also go one step better and play Kinsaden, but that's neither here nor there.
I almost thought about including that one, but I'm not sure how Halloween-y I can really call it.
Well, it's not really retro horror, even though there's a lot of horror elements, yokai and whatnot in it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just one of those things where I think Master of Darkness fits for more of a retro horror kind of thing.
Yeah, I would say so.
It's pretty cool intro to it, though. You see some, Victorian lady, and she's being stalked by some shadowy person, and it'll say about how it's like the morning would bring the discovery of yet another corpse drained of all its blood. On top of that, it opens with Dr. Social reading from a Ouija board.
That's right.
So it's a fun time. I'll say that much.
And you get to beat monsters to death and psychos to death with a cane in it, which
yes, you do.
I don't think enough games allow you to do that. Very classy.
Oh yeah, you could picture, okay. The closest comparison I could think of in terms of setting and whatnot would be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde on the NES.
But that game sucks.
Yes.
It doesn't.
Remember how Jekyll would just kind of walk along with his cane and all that?
Yeah.
That's like what Dr. Social's doing.
Yeah, kind of. This game actually is does kind of feel like a companion as per like the game that something like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde should have been.
If Jekyll could have wailed on those people with his cane, then it would have been a better game. But no,
Yeah,
you got to wait till
no.
you become high to play the fun parts.
And then those only happen for like 10 seconds until you die. I never figure out how to play that shit.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, Master of Darkness, fun time.
Yes.
Short, easy, but a nice playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's talk King of Demons.
Yes, yes. Or Maju O, as I believe is its Japanese title it was known for before it actually got an official localization at some point recently.
Oh, on a side note, before we do that, if you look next to Chibi Wreck in the background, there's the good doctor right there.
Yeah, the guy in the nice blue suit, that's him.
Yeah. Pip pip cheerio and all that. So, but yes, King of Demons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember reading about this one way back when and thinking to myself, no, there's only like one really dark kind of horror game on the Super NES, and that's Demon's Crest.
Ah, yes.
What is this? So I had to find out.
Again, yeah, no, I would definitely talk Demon's Crest if we haven't already discussed the Ghosts and Goblins series.
Oh, yeah. It's... I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it, because it gets very interesting.
Very weird, yes.
Oh, yeah.
It goes with my favorite type of depiction for hell, and that's what I just like to call weird hell.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's no consistency for the most part to its elements. It's just a bunch of really crazy, unsettling shit in there, and that is awesome to me.
And yes, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde has nothing to do with the book, just like that homebrew, The Great Gatsby, apparently doesn't, but I have to read that book yet, so if I don't find giant laser firing eyeglasses and crabs and pirate ghosts in The Great Gatsby, I'm going to declare the book a waste of time.
Yeah, just declare it a waste now. I will tell you that. I don't think you're going to like it as much as the game promises you will. Also, I admit I don't really like that book all that much myself. Classic of American literature, though it is, it just does not do.
No laser firing giant glasses, no sail.
It would have been better if it had that, but no, it's just about rich people in New York or some bullshit. I don't fucking remember even.
Not even a single pirate ghost.
No, I'm afraid not.
Waste. Anyway, yeah,
King of Demons. Can you believe it?
Anyway, King of Demons. So, basically, you play this guy who, it's like his wife and daughter. His wife's been killed, and his daughter's been taken by the demons, I think.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah, and his wife comes back as a spirit in the form of a fairy to help him out. And basically starts as a human, and you have a choice when you beat the first boss, which is in this giant room full of skulls, and I think it's like a half-naked chick on top of some kind of weird monster.
Yeah, because why not?
Yeah, exactly. And you can either pick up the gem that it drops, or you can not and go on, at which point you'll just be human until the next opportunity to get a gem like that. But if you pick up a gem, depending on what color it is, you'll turn into a monster. Interesting. So, and there's, Mike, before we started this stream, we were talking about this. Why don't you go through some of the stuff that's in it? I mean, I've played it, but not enough. I remember
some time.
I remember the ghost train.
Yeah, there's a ghost train. You actually have to destroy the train at the end, but it's like this weird, like, giant cyclops bug demon thing that, like, spits a lot of, like, I don't know, blood blobs or spikes back at you while you're trying to attack it or something cool like that. And on that train, there's this really unsettling bit of these, like, two horse demons whipping some random woman to death. and you can't do anything to save her or whatever. It's just being unsettling for the sake of it. That's like, wow, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
But I also remember there were like all these weird plants here and this gigantic plant eyeball with a lot of Mode 7 effects on it.
Yeah. Oh,
And yeah, the naked flower woman demon or whatever that you were mentioning, I think was a thing in there too. There's like this massive demon that you had to roll under. That's like a giant centipede thingy with like ribs that it tries to poke you with. Um,
I
that
also
reminds me a lot of something from Alien Soldier. Come to think of it, but yeah.
I also remember in the second stage, there's these little fairies that come out and attack you, and if you're a monster and you kill one of them, you can then eat it.
Jesus, that's effed up. I wonder why this game wasn't considered by Nintendo of America.
Sounds just like the kind of game they would have approved, no problem. But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
kind of weird. It didn't fit their moral Christian values or whatever.
yeah, okay, that actually makes sense, Pharaoh. I'd never actually played any English version of the game, so the story was kind of lost on me.
Yeah, I do know that spoilers, the final boss is actually your daughter, but if you don't go for the true demon form, that doesn't go so well. And after you beat one of the three of the bosses, you are able to pick a new form. Like you start out as like a human, an 80s looking guy with a headband and a gun. Yes, a gun with infinite ammo, which he starts out fighting the demons with, which that's already giving a different atmosphere to most Castlevania titles. But then after beating like the first real major boss, you can pick this crystal that flashes between red, blue, and green, and you get a different form depending on when you grab the crystal. And like the blue one fires a slow but powerful laser. Like the red one fires these fast, if not super powerful, crescent projectiles. And I forget what the green one did. It has been quite a while since I played, but that is neat how you have this control and replayability factor of all these different forms that you can tinker with in different stages. Now, if you get one crystal multiple times, your form that you have powers up, but you shouldn't do this. If you want to get the true ending, you need to get one crystal of each color, which, if you do that, transforms you into a secret fourth form that's the most powerful out of all of them. And that's what you want to use to get to the true ending. So, yeah, I just think that was a really interesting sort of replayability factor to it with the different forms and whatnot. Like, I can't think of any Castlevania game that gives you sort of like a Mega Man-esque power up at the end of it, for the most part.
Nope. It's a really cool game, though.
Very,
and
yes.
I know it got reissued a couple years back, and it was actually, translated as King of Demons, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
You can say what the true ending is if you want, unless if anyone doesn't want to hear, this is a spoiler, if anyone doesn't want to hear about it, make your voices known in the chat right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say that, yes, the game is absolutely definitely worth playing. It's, certainly not as... I wouldn't say it's quite like Super Castlevania 4 in terms of quality, but it is still pretty damn high quality for something from a relatively obscure company who I even forget the guys who made it. But yeah, no, that one I think is a true hidden gem and not the Frankenstein, the Monster Returns that you were talking about. Also, yeah, if Jay's cool with it, I think you're safe, Zaf.
Yeah, go ahead.
But there's this other game that I learned about the same time as Majuo, because a site that's still going that I like quite a bit by the name of Bogleach. He early covered like a bunch of sprites from some games, and he had some from Majuo and this other Super Famicom platformer by the name of Psycho Dream, which I considered covering because it does have some weird things in it, like this somewhat phallic-looking butterfly monster
Yeah, that thing.
and some other pretty bizarre creatures in it, as I remember, but yeah, I don't think it quite meets the definition of horror. It's just more bizarre than anything, not like outright, genuinely demonic horror like Majuo was going for.
Yeah,
So,
it's one of those things where it's just like, so this is what happens in someone's brain, kind of thing.
yeah, it has a little bit of that going about it. But, yeah, it does have a surprisingly wholesome, true ending to it.
Yeah.
All things considered, making the best of a bad situation is kind of how I read that. But that doesn't happen. I believe you end up killing your daughter and you end up broken and alone. So, yeah, bad end to be sure.
So to go ahead and switch gears from King of Demons over to, well, the opposite of things here. Let's talk a little bit about Musha. Note that I said Musha, not Musha.
Yes.
There's
Musha,
a
a
big
classic
difference.
tale of Japanese horror, or whatever I think its subtitle was. That is the very definition of a game I would say is so mediocre that it hurts. Like, I don't want to say it's like out and out bad. It's not terrible on a similar wavelength like, I don't know, the Wizard of Oz SNES game is. But,
Less said about that, the better.
oh yes, most definitely. But it's just so inferior to other games in almost every way in what it is trying to do that it kind of feels like it's not really all that worth it to play unless you've like played every other action platformer on the SNES, and you might as well just give this one a go because you're that much of a blighted completist. That's just kind of the overall feeling I get with this one.
And yes, Jay, this is Musha.
Yep.
Now, Betty watched me play this one some time back, and she made fun of it pretty mercilessly, just for a couple of things.
Yeah?
Well, for one thing, you control a Japanese pikeman who's descending into hell to rescue, like, the village chieftain's daughter or something like that.
Yeah.
So, since he's got a pike, he stabs things. Well, his pike looks more like a fountain pen. And it's like poke, 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 poke. And you can spin the thing around, and it's like watching a fan.
Yeah, I do remember that. It's I guess a neat enough feature, but it's definitely no Simon Belmont from SCP 4 Limp Whip flailing physics. So,
It's
but
got
then
some
what
pretty
is?
good atmosphere to it, and some interesting enemy design, and the music's not bad, but it's really not all that good otherwise.
It's hard to say exactly why this game doesn't work. It's just, it feels stiff, is I think the semi-generic but really most on-point thing I can say about why its overall feel is just off to me. It just feels like it moves slowly, and I remember the first boss, which is like some evil Tanuki demon or whatever. I just remember it taking fucking forever to kill. It is a real sponge in my memory.
You're stabbing it with a fountain pen.
Yeah. Well, what's that bullshit about the pen being mightier than the sword? Who the fuck said that anyway? Because they're an idiot.
Well, I don't know who said it originally, but I know Marcus Brody said it in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. In that case, he was correct.
You know, that is a good point, yes.
I think it's a case-by-case basis here.
Oh, that's fair. I'll give you that.
So, yeah, well, Musha could have been a lot better.
Yeah, it feels like it has potential, and I find it interesting that, correct me if I'm wrong, but for how Japanese it is about its setup, it actually did come out in the West, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah. That's how I first played it. It was a rental.
Yeah, no, that's pretty neat. That's pretty crazy to me, but like, yeah, no, it is just much less than the sum of its parts on almost every level you can think of. So, uh, yeah, it's. I wouldn't play it before playing some of the other really good games on there. So, yeah.
So, in case you haven't been able to tell, we're trying to just kind of briefly cover the okay to bad games and devote more time to the good ones. The next one kind of falls in the middle of those, and that is a Nosferatu for the Super NES.
Yeah, this one is very interesting.
Yeah.
It's definitely better than Musia, and there are things I like about this one, and I was glad to actually beat it one day, but...
It's kind of a horror Prince of Persia.
Yeah, exactly. That is pretty much what it is going for. Although, there's not that Prince of Persia is lacking for combat, but this game is even more combat-y. You even have like straight up boss fights in it, which, not counting the SNES version, I don't think the original Prince of Persia really had many of those.
Let's see here. Edward Bulwer Lytton? 1839.
That name, I've heard that name before. I think I want to say it was mentioned in conjunction with some sort of writing contest. Like I definitely heard that name. I don't remember the specifics though. But yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right.
Well, I'll say, comparing it to, say, Prince of Persia or Out of This World or Flashback or something like that, the animation in Nosferatu is kind of a mixed bag. You know, some of it's really smooth. Others, not so much. And, okay, for the longest time, I've referred to the main character of the game as the idiot.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens when you go up against a vampire to rescue somebody, or just to go up against a vampire in general? Usually you arm yourself, right? Wooden stake, maybe a whip, or holy water, or silver bullets, or something, you know?
Garlic. Don't forget garlic.
Oh, garlic, definitely. You know what this clown goes in with? His bare fists.
Yep. Nothing! Yeah. Absolutely nothing!
He's like, yeah, I'm such a badass, I'm gonna punch the vampire back to the underworld. Now, granted, you can pick up these crystals as you go through the game, which do increase the power of your punches, but still.
It's an interesting strategy. I mean, but like, I don't know if Kyle kicks ass for the Lord or whatever, but
he had his hands blessed by a priest before he went in. That's what it is.
Yeah, I remember that was a theory that you actually made off about the game. Like, it might as well be. Like, I know we're not supposed to think about this too seriously for being a video game, but yeah, usually if you punch a zombie, that doesn't really do a lot to it. So,
see, the only time that works in a video game is if it's Splatterhouse and you got the power of the Terror Mask behind you.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever power Kyle has, if he has any, is rather anonymous to us. So I don't know.
Sure, like, the Terror Mask.
No, he doesn't have anything like that. At least not visible. Yeah, so it's a very goofy premise just going on that alone. But,
oh, good point there. You're either an idiot or at least a Tevish.
Yeah. So what was Kyle hoping to seduce the vampire? I mean, he's trying to get his girlfriend back, so obviously, you know, he'd be faking it, but still. And of course, Alucard can actually potentially punch enemies to death, but again, you know, he is the son of Dracula, so of course he'd be that strong. And anyway, you can find several fist weapons in Symphony of the Night. The Fist of Tulkas, which is the one that allows you to actually shoot Hadoukens, if I'm not mistaken. So,
but Kyle doesn't even have access to that stuff.
Yeah, no, I guess these magic crystals are just enough to justify his power, but like, what do we even know about him? I don't even remember reading the manual to this one.
He rode a horse. That's about all I can tell you.
Yeah, what time frame is this game supposed to take in anyway? I never quite understood that.
Well, if you go to the options screen, there's a photograph, him and his girlfriend there. I think it's dated 1990.
Oh. When was Buffy the Vampire Slayer thing again? Because maybe this was inspired by that. I have no fucking idea.
Pretty sure it was a couple years later. I think the original movie came out in like 92 or so.
Okay, well,
I might be wrong.
Well, yeah, the movie was a thing at least. So
yeah, if you're talking about the TV series, that came much later.
Yeah, gotcha.
But it's an interesting game. Yeah, the horse gave him strength. That's what it is.
Yeah. You know, I guess you could say that. Kyle was hoping to beat Drac with a lot of horsepower in a race or something. Like, what the fuck was I trying to do with this bad joke?
That's
Hating sad horns. Impressive. I'm obviously running on fumes already.
Oh
well.
Anyway, as far as the game itself, if you're expecting something like Prince of Persia with a horror theme, and that's all you're expecting, can't really go too wrong with it.
Yeah, it's not bad. It does certainly have its frustrations to it, and I think some of the levels later in the game get pretty long in the tooth, but it's okay. Although the mechanics of the fighting do feel kind of weird to get used to at first, and I feel like some of the boss fights don't totally revolve so hot around them. You do kind of feel like you're on the back foot sometimes.
I tell you,
like this asshole rock monster or whatever near the end of the game. I don't remember.
I tell you what I want to know. Why is one of the bosses two apes?
That's not exactly a horror thing, is it? Like,
No.
What, was one of the developers a fan of fucking Congo or whatever? That's not a horror movie. That's not a good movie. I don't...
And yes, apparently Dracula is still living in his physically located castle in 1990.
It was, I guess, Kyle Belmont who, like, forgot the whip in, like, the back of his Toyota or whatever, so... I don't know. I don't even know. This game is really dumb, is what we're trying to get at, I think.
He's using the power of Mr. Ed. That's just all there is to it.
Yes, exactly.
Whereas Dracula counters with the powers of Mr. Dead.
Hey, well, wasn't Mr. Dead like the name that Konami gave the horse in the horse heads in the Super Castlevania 4 manual?
Yep. A horse is a horse, of course, unless it's an undead horse head, of course.
Jesus Christ, Newton. Video games.
Yep. So, let's say we move on. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's. Okay, this one's proven to be a perennial favorite amongst a whole bunch of people. So we're going to talk about it in its sequel here. Zombies Ate My Neighbors and Ghoul Patrol. Zombies Ate My Neighbors is just it's tough, but it's just it's a goof of a game. It really is. Very cartoony.
It kind of is in some ways. I think the ultimate Halloween game. Like, I cannot think of one that's Halloweenier than this, and that's more like the sort of like goofy, like catch-all everything version of Halloween. I mean, besides zombies, you also got werewolves. You also got Frankenstein monsters. You also got alien invaders. Like, you also got chainsaw wielding maniacs. You got killer possessed dolls. You have giant babies for some reason.
And no, I don't think Hagane fits this. I think if we were talking ninja games, then that would be more of a thing for Hagane.
Hey, did we ever have a ninja game stream?
I don't believe we haven't even had a shinobi oriented stream yet.
Did we ever have a Ninja Gaiden one?
Yes.
Okay, so we had that, but
yes, Sharon, there was a Beetlejuice game. It was not good.
It's bad. It was definitely a beer money license game by Rareware.
Pretty much.
That's the best way I can put it. So,
but yeah, Zombies Ate My Neighbors. You basically take control of either Zeke and Julie.
Yep, that's them.
Zeke, who's got his classic 3D glasses, and his hair is blonde and pointing straight up, and
he looks like a kid that you would see in a Nintendo Power advertisement of some sort.
Yeah, kind of. Julie looks a little more less so.
Yeah, but that's a cool hat she's got, at least.
Yeah.
And they start out with water guns, which might be holy water. I don't know. Somehow they can destroy zombies, so that's cool for them.
I think they're supposed to be holy water.
Oh, okay, sweet. But there were a lot of freaking levels to this game, but you gotta save all of the neighbors or whatever before they get zapped by bad guys or whatever.
Or eaten by zombies.
Yes, exactly. I think anything can kill them, and as I recall, they tend to die a lot to the freaking maniacs. The chainsaw guys are real jerks to deal with, but
every stage is a parody of something.
Yes, yeah. Lots of stage titles to go through on this one. I want to say one of them was called Mars Needs Cheerleaders, but or was that the name of an actual movie? I don't remember.
No, I think that was from Zombies Ate My Neighbors, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, what are some of the stage titles I can go with? Here we go. Let's see. Terror in Aisle 5. Dr. Tongue's Castle of Terror. Yes, Dr. Tongue is the actual evil guy in this one. Weeds Gone Bad. Yeah, Mars Needs Cheerleaders. That was an actual stage in this. Oh, Chopping Mall. That was an actual 80s movie. Killer robots in that one.
Yeah,
7 Meals for 7 Zombies. Oh, dang, that's elaborate. Nightmare on Terror Street, Invasion of the Snakeoids, which
so you know, that 7 Meals for 7 Zombies thing.
Yeah.
It's a play on 7 Brides for 7 Brothers.
7 Brides for 7 Brothers, yeah. Mm-hmm. I've heard of that. I forget what it is exactly. Isn't it like a musical of some sort?
Movie, I think. It's a musical movie.
Gotcha. Oh, Dances with Werewolves. That's a good stage name. Even I got to admit. So, this game just really revels in its Halloweeniness. And, it's like every stage is non-linear, relatively speaking. You run overhead. I almost want to say it's kind of Zelda-ish in how it controls, but not really. I'm not sure I can really say that. But there are lots of weapons you can get to combat all the evil, like bazookas and I think flamethrowers, which is a lot of firepower for a kid to be having. And Sharon, you like Chopping Mall? Yeah, that was a really fun movie. I don't know why Mary Warrenlove and Paul Bartel showed up at the beginning of it, but it was the 80s. I guess they could pop in whatever they wanted.
But it's not so much at every level's a parody, but it's the whole thing's played very tongue-in-cheek.
Yes, very. I mean, hey, like I said, the bad guy's Dr. Tongue, and I think the final boss is him as a giant head actually firing tongues at you, so that really is tongue-in-cheek, isn't it?
Something to keep in mind. we'll address your really, really bad pun in a second there, Mike.
Thank you.
Something to keep in mind: the game was originally by LucasArts. So
Yeah.
if you're familiar with some of their PC games like Day of the Tentacle and Sam and Max Hit the Road, then you're dealing with the same kind of humor.
As a matter of fact, there's a secret password that you can put in that brings you to a special stage called Day of the Tentacle. And you are actually roasting clones of the purple tentacle in it, which is really cute. Nice little wink there. Okay, Mo. Thank you for stopping into our stream. I hope it wasn't too unfocused and stopgap. Hope we had a good time with it.
Yeah, have a good one, Mo. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, hey, take care. Have a good night now. Hey, Eugene, what up?
Eugene. Well, let's put it this way. It's held up for almost 2 hours, so we're doing all right.
Yes. Hopefully it continues to do that. Like, wow.
Oh, by the way, Mike, your pun.
Yes. And how? You're fired, and with good cause.
Yep. So, all right, but then you had Ghoul Patrol, which was basically more of the same, but not quite as good.
Yeah.
And there was a reason for that. I just can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I don't remember the reason either, but oh Jesus, School Patrol is just not great. I'm not even sure if it's good. I remember something that really bugged me up front about it was that Zeke and Julie controlled a lot more slippery for no good reason compared to, like, in some ways, my neighbors, they just moved quickly. There wasn't really any quirks whatsoever to control. They controlled just fine. For some reason, in Ghoul Patrol, they move slower by default, but they have a dash button instead, so why do I need to hold an additional button to move faster when the first game just had me at high tempo speed already?
Yeah.
And for some reason, their dashes kind of made them slippery and slidey at times, so now I had to deal with this movement inertia, which was absolutely not a factor I had to worry about in the first game. Like, what the fuck? Just that up front really bugs me a lot. But in addition, just like, I don't know, the stages just didn't feel like they had as much personality to them. It just felt like the game was like darker, not a good way. Like a lot of the like bright craziness of the first game just felt more muted here, and it just,
Though,
I don't know, it just did not feel excellent.
wasn't there a power-up let you turn into the Grim Reaper?
Oh, was that at least? That is cool. You had something like that though in the first game where you drank the potion, you became a giant, invincible purple beast monster. So that would follow up on that. Turning Grim Reaper was a pretty neat quirk, but probably the coolest thing about that game. Otherwise, I think it is inferior in just about every way to the original, and like it's an even bigger come down than going from the first ActRaiser to ActRaiser 2. If
Also, hey Raven, how's it going?
And hey Raven, what is up for now? We are indeed talking about games in the spooky month, that is known as October, and that I guess is going on for at least 2 more weeks, so that's something.
Yep. So yeah, Ghoul Patrol, just not as good as Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Nope.
I can say, if you want to read a lot more about both of those, if you check out the book that I co-authored, pretty much co-authored with Kurt Kalata and several other writers, that'd be the Hardcore Gaming Digest Volume 3, The Guide to Retro Horror. There's a lot on both those games in there, including an interview with the creators of Zombies.
Nice.
Plus, you'll find some articles about some other games we talked about in there, like Monster Party and Haunted House, and so on and so forth. Not to mention some the big franchises, too.
Uh-huh.
In fact, if you want to look up the link to that on Amazon and post that, Mike, that'd be great.
All right. Should I just search for
Well, you can look up
Sorry.
Kurt, or you can just look up Guide to Retro Horror, Hardcore Gaming 101. One of them's bound to bring it up.
Okay. I just falling through. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Perfect. And in fact, hey, that's a Dr. Tongue on the cover of this book next to Astaroth and Hell Chaos.
Yep, that whole cover idea was basically Rusty's. So it's like
awesome.
We got Zeke and Julie, we've got Arthur, and of course in the back, Rick.
Yep, there's our Sterling boy.
And all the tombstones that are scattered behind them all have character names from the game Countdown Vampires on it.
On them. Nice.
And when you get a chance to look at the back cover, he put some characters back, like Markenberg from Monster Party. He put Firebrand from Demon's Crest, and he put Ignatius and Nadia from Nightmare Creatures. And I suggested all of those. So
nice.
He was like, "Yes, I never thought I'd have a chance to draw Nightmare Creatures, but here we are."
Yep. Might as well run with it.
But yeah, there's the digest. Check it out. There is a second volume I didn't have anything to do with, but it's got a lot of licensed stuff in it if you're into that kind of thing.
Well, the 2009 Ghostbusters video game was pretty damn good, so...
Well, it's more focused on, like, slasher licensed games and stuff. So you got your Friday the 13th, your Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, and it's also got Night Trap in it. The less said, the better. Not a fan.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, let's go ahead and go into a different direction now. Well, Zombies Ate My Neighbors had, a lot of comedy in it. There was another game. I'd never quite played a game like it before on the Genesis by Electronic Arts called Haunting, starring Poltergeist. Betty and I looked at this one a long time ago. But
I remember that, yeah.
Congratulations, Sharon. I didn't like it enough to beat it.
No.
But basically, you're playing the ghost of this kid who's trying to get revenge on the guy that killed him, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So you're the kid's spirit. You're haunting his house and trying to scare the crap out of him and his entire family, who are all jerks.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually possess, pieces of furniture. You can set ghost traps and stuff to where if they walk near, say, a rug, the rug will jump up and land on them, or, the potted plants will start jumping around and whatnot. And Warlock, I never really played, to tell you the truth.
That one is a licensed title, so we wouldn't be discussing it, but I remember seeing some footage of that. It looked interesting, and I think it had elements from both of the Warlock movies in it. I can't remember, though, if you were supposed to be playing as Richard E. Grant or as Julian Sands, so I couldn't tell you much about it, I'm afraid.
And now Ghostmaster is a game I've never heard of. It's a PC game?
Yeah, I'm not sure I know Ghostmaster either.
And yes, Dana Plato is in Night Trap.
Yep. Yeah, that was a really big selling point for it back in the day, too.
Mm-hmm. But
yeah.
Yeah, Haunting is just, you can eventually run out of ghost power or whatever it is. May have to look into that.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
But some of the animations and stuff when you scare the people in the house are just hilarious.
Yeah, you have some sort of creepy thing jump out of the television or whatever, or the radio starts playing really ear-shredding music, and it is just basically be a jerk simulator, but you're dealing with much worse jerks than yourself, so it's okay.
Yeah. But it's fun to play. I really need to put a little more time into that one because I haven't. And
me too, yeah.
On a console, I've never really seen anything like it, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
So, Eugene, if you ever plan on doing any more Genesis games, you want to play something unique, look this one up.
Aye. I will warn, however, that I know eventually you run out of energy and you have to go to this dungeon or whatever and
Yes.
try and collect more, which I think is the part that everyone who I know that knows of this game thinks is universally the worst bit about it. But, you know, I was going to say, you know how Blast Corps has the backlash, which nobody likes, but you have to drive it, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think you played much of that game, so perish the comparison.
Hmm. Well,
That being said, though, what I do know of Haunting, it is a pretty fun game. Like, remember when Electronic Arts would publish a game like that? That's fucking crazy.
yeah, back when they were like, you remember in the early PS1 days when Squaresoft did all this off the wall stuff that you wouldn't expect, and now they're just like the Final Fantasy factory.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
Electronic
pretty
Arts at
much.
the time. You know, you had Haunting, you had Skitchin,
Mm-hmm.
had
Yeah,
like,
the Road Rash games,
yep,
the Desert and Jungle Strike.
Budokan, the
Was that?
martial spirit.
Yes, yes. Mutant League Football and Hockey.
Yes, I'm no sports game fan, but those games were pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, those ones were fun. Totally.
Mm-hmm. And well, EA is what, like the Madden factory now?
I heard being bought out by some sort of Saudi Arabian firm. I don't think we want to get too much into that for now. At
No.
least I'm not going to.
All I know is that Square, in their crazy days, gave us Einhander, and for that alone, I am forever grateful.
Yeah, Einhander and Bushido Blade and the Tobal games and
Some great finishes.
Chocobo Racing, and like, yeah, no, no, it was a really
It was.
crazy, crazy freaking time for them.
It was. Okay.
God
So,
damn, Eugene, why'd you have to bring that up?
yes, they did do that, and that's why it stayed in Japan.
Yeah, that's one that I completely understand why we didn't get it over here, because Jesus Christ, are you kidding me?
Exactly. I'd much rather
Boy.
have the game that SATA released.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was not great, but at least it doesn't have a really terrible depiction of Jim in it.
Yeah. So let's say
So,
we.
yes.
So let's say we move on to something a little more. I don't know. Okay. There's this game called Decap Attack starring Chuck D. Head for the Genesis. And
uh,
it's got an interesting history to it. For one thing, it was by Vic Tokai. And if you've ever
yes.
played games like Kid Cool or Psycho Fox, you've basically played this. Yeah, horror
Mm-hmm.
instead of horrifying, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's same thing. It's one of those, yay, inertia-based gameplay is fun. No, it's not.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rob's not a fan of that little subset of video games.
No, it just, I prefer just non-inertia-based gaming. And here's the thing. They pulled pretty much a Super Mario Brothers 2 on it. Because in Japan, it was actually based on a licensed property, which loosely translates into Magical Hat.
Yeah, Magical Hat like Woken or whatever.
Mm-hmm. So they couldn't bring that over here, unchanged. So instead, what they did was slap a horror Halloween makeover on it and renamed it to Decap Attack.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you play this mummy who has a face in his stomach and no head, but you can find the head and pick it up and chuck the head, hence Chuck the Head, at the enemies. But other than being a complete and total reskin of Magical Hat, it's not really much different.
No, I know Rob's not a fan of those games. I actually quite liked my time with the Cap Attack. I liked it enough to play it to the end at least.
Oh,
And beat it even.
I am going
But,
to give one thing to Decap Attack. Unlike
yes.
Magical Hat, they actually made it a little easier.
That's good, yes.
They added a life bar. Magical Hat does not have a life bar.
Oh, Jiminy. Why the hell not?
I don't know. It's funny, too, though. If you know Magical Hat and you know Decap Attack, you can actually see where a couple of the characters were not changed. They were recolored. But that's about it.
Huh. Weird.
But for the most part, total reskin. So
Total Recall?
Total Recall.
You said Total Reskin. That just... Never mind. I'm losing it.
I'll say. So, there.
Thank you.
So, yeah, it's basically okay. For the people who never have played stuff like Kid Cool or Psycho Fox or Decap Attack, go ahead and describe it, Mike.
It has been a while since I played, but I just remember that you... I know that, like, a major tentpole of the physics is that every stage has these long, swingy bars on them that you have to jump on and, like, swing back and forth to get some leverage on them and then spring ahead. Or, like... Shoot. I mean, like, besides that, I remember it playing like how most platformers play, so, like, the actual specifics of the physics are lost on me, but I do remember that you can collect your own head as a projectile. It's the skull that, whenever, and, like, your normal attack has you bug out, like, a fleshy face located in the middle of your torso, which is pretty rad. But, yeah, it's,
I know you do a lot of jumping and bouncing in that game.
Oh, yeah, right. There are a lot of blocks that you need to bounce on to get to a higher position. I seem to recall that.
There's also a bit, thanks to the inertia, where you can actually run off a cliff a little ways. Then you do this Looney Tunes kind of thing where you realize that if you try and go back the other way, he'll actually run in midair for a couple seconds.
Right. That is a little physics bent that you can exercise, which is pretty damn fun. But it's been a while since I played it, so again, I'm kind of crap on the detail. I can only say that, for what it's worth, it's certainly not the most impressive action game on the Genesis, but you could do worse. Like, I was going to say Chacan, but that feels like a cheap shot because my buddy Snarb's not here right now. I know he really likes that game, so...
I don't.
I know you don't. I'm not sure if I do, even.
Yeah.
But it sure exists. Which is really insane to me. That version's actually pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, well. But anyway, yeah, what else can we say about Decap Attack? Not too much.
And honestly, not too much. Again, my memories are rusty on it. It's okay, I will say.
Mm-hmm. So, how about we hit a couple arcade games instead?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, I remember that. That's, it's on the Super Famicom, right?
Yeah, I remember that one. I remember, like, the Western version had you as George Jetson with some, like, super vacuum thing. In the Japanese version, you were, like, some sort of demon hunting girl, and you had some sort of, like, demon head or whatever. I don't remember the details exactly, but yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I don't think I ever played either of them, though. But anyway, yes.
I think I actually beat the George Jetson one on stream at some point.
Really?
Crazy enough. I don't remember much about it, though. I remember it was pretty good, but it had a few frustrating bits near the end.
Yeah. So, yeah, Namco did release a couple of horror-themed games besides Splatterhouse. Yes. One of which was a little more of a comical take on it, but that would be Yokai Dochuki, which, if you look on the background, that's a little weird-looking kid down at the end next to Arthur.
Uh-huh. Did this game have a name of any sort?
Supposedly, there's an English translation called Shadowland.
Yes, yes. I have heard of that at least.
But they say they've never actually seen a cab of it anywhere. Yet there is a ROM out there of it. So whether someone just
Yeah.
hacked it as Shadowland or what, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So now I don't 100% know the story about this aside from the Famicom version because it did get ported to the Famicom and the PC Engine. Basically, the kid you're playing here is dead, and you're kind of descending into hell. And
It's crazy.
at least in the Famicom game, you do have the ability to bring yourself back to life. I don't know if that's the same for the arcade and PC Engine games, but the Famicom one has an added meter to your life called the pious meter. So, like, the more good you are, the better your ending is, and you actually come back to life and surprise your parents in one ending. And in another one, if you're really good, you end up in a bathhouse with a bunch of naked chicks. And I think in another ending, you actually end up with a bunch of Namco heroes like Pac-Man and Valkyrie and whatnot.
Oh, wow, that's really cute.
I think in the arcade game, a whole bunch of you come out of an arcade or something. It's strange.
That kind of sounds like the ending to Golden Axe.
Yeah, doesn't it? Except in this case, it's like literally a whole bunch of whatever that kid's name is.
Dang.
So, and along the way, you can do things like play gambling games with frogs and end up in basically pools of blood with bloody corpses reaching out of them. And when you go to fight a boss, when you reach one, you actually can either fight it or you can start praying in front of a shrine and this ghost girl will come out. You control the ghost girl trying to beat the boss. So it's got some interesting concepts. I just wish there was, an official translation of it so we know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I seem to remember there. Oh, no, wait. That was the New Zealand story. Never mind.
You confused a game about kiwis with a game about a kid going to hell.
Well, like, I thought there was something where, like, you can, like, go to heaven, like, someone tells you to do that, and you can end your game early, but it's kind of like a bad ending. And I thought that was something that was in this game, but no, that was actually something that was in New Zealand story. Maybe there was something like that in this game, though, but I don't really know for sure.
Well, whatever the case may be, it's fun to mess around with. I can say that much.
It's one I haven't played nearly enough. I remember it being pretty damn difficult, but it also feels like one I could really do to play more someday.
Yeah, same here. I've got it for the Famicom and the PC Engine. I just haven't made too much headway in either of them because, like you said, it is really difficult.
Yeah. So is that one Taito game that kind of bears a resemblance to it if you wanted to transition into that.
I will say one thing. The PC Engine version of the game is so common that you can still get it relatively cheaply.
Nice. But it only came out in Japan, right?
Yes. So you need to have a way to play PC Engine games.
That's still pretty neat, at least.
But anyway, yes, another descending into hell game would be a game called Jikoku Meguri, but was released, as far as I know, in the U.S. as Bond's Adventure. It's basically Taito's answer to Ghosts and Goblins. It is that tough.
Pretty much.
You play you play a Buddhist monk, and you're descending into hell to go ahead and do something. I don't know the story.
Yeah, I've heard War 2.
Yeah. But you get a lot of interesting creatures in there. All sorts of yokai. You have one, they're like living tombstones. They'll just pop up, start walking around. There's all these ghosts. They're definitely, it's all very traditionally Japanese.
Yeah, does it have the one like the umbrella demons?
I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah, you cannot have a game with yokai not have those. I wish I could remember what the hell they were called, but they
Mm-hmm.
are in a lot of video games that I played,
Oh yeah,
like the Goemon games and Parodius also.
yeah. They take the place of the floating or the flying mountaintops.
Yes, exactly. You remember that?
They even show up in the secret stage of Wanpaku Graffiti.
Yes, exactly. So they've
Mm-hmm.
been in a lot of stuff. I should really look up what they are actually called then.
Yeah, but in this one, it's like your prayer beads are your main weapon, and of course you can power
Mm-hmm.
those up. But just the further you get into it, the harder it gets.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the ending only just by watching a YouTube video.
Yeah.
How the hell they do that too? They can take these hard games, they go right through. It has to be like tool assisted sometimes. I swear.
Some of them are tool assisted, yes. Others are legit. They've just really probably like studied the game really a long time, and I'm
Yeah.
sure like it can be done. I feel like metals, like maybe if I really practice hard enough at it, I could maybe 1cc metal slugs someday, but I don't know. Like, I'm not really devoted to going out of my way to do it because it sounds like I'd go insane trying to practice enough at it,
Mm.
but it's doable at least.
Well, while you're looking up those umbrella demons, if you look between Mark from Monster Party and the dude from Holy Diver, there's your title character from Bond's Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Little monk dude with his prayer beads and. Uh, Sometimes I think it'd be easier if I was just playing each game and showing them off.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to describe these, but I haven't played this one much, but I did see somebody streaming it recently, and there's someone that is generally really good at video games. They could not make very much headway in this one. I don't even think they could reach the first boss. It's pretty heinous.
It is that hard. I think
Yeah.
first time I encountered it, I'm pretty sure it was on Taito Legends 2 for the PS2.
Oh yeah, it was on that.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Along with a lot of really good games, which just completely got overlooked.
Yeah, a lot of really neat deep cuts. I will say, for as much as I love Taito, sometimes it can be a little bit of a crapshoot, and I wouldn't call Bond's Adventure one of their tentpole games that they've ever done. But it's worth checking out, at least. It does have a pretty interesting style to it. It's just, don't expect to make much progress for the first few hours you play it, or maybe even the next several hours.
Unless you're really, really good.
Yeah, or you're like me, and sometimes you just get it in your head that you need to beat a video game. You keep bashing your head against a wall until you finally make a dent in it. It depends.
So, switching gears. All right.
By the way, the Umbrella Demons are known as Casa Obake.
Yeah, that's them.
Yep, that's them, all right.
So, switching gears a bit, there's a horror-themed run and gun. It's known by the titles Demon World and Horror Story.
Yes.
That's that little Ghostbusters looking dude between Arthur and the dude from Holy Diver.
Yeah, he's got sunglasses and a mustache, so you know he's an 80s action hero.
So you're basically destroying everything in your path with a gun that shoots out all sorts of stuff. I think you can get missiles in that, and God knows what else. It's been ages since I played it, though.
It's been a while since I have too, but I wanted to bring this one up because it is a game by Arcade Action Meisters Toplan, mostly known for their shoot 'em ups, but they have made some non-shoot 'em up games in their career, like Wardner, for example, aka Pyros. And this one, breakout title by the name of Gox, which, oh, you know what? Gox would have been good for this too. I just haven't played it very much, but that one's very Halloweeny in its construction. But
didn't they also do, what was it, Pippi and BB or something like that?
yeah, that one, that was them. Interesting gameplay. For some reason, it has porn in it. I don't know why, but you know, it was acceptable in the 80s or the 90s or whenever the hell it was made. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, go on about Horror Story.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, you want me to go on? Okay.
Yes. You probably played it more recently than I have.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting title that, like you said, is like a run and gun. You move along automatically, but you do also kind of jump around on various elevations and such. It sort of controls like a platformer, but it's also kind of partially a shmup as well, or a run and gun rather. The only other game I can think of that kind of has a similar control dynamic to it is Wonder Boy 3 Monster Lair, if you've played that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, kind of like that. And like I said, you can get various power-ups like missiles and lasers, and all sorts of weird, creepy demons are coming at you. At some point, I think a dragon assaults you, and I'm pretty sure one of the bosses is a Native American skeleton chief, which, that sounds a little dubious, but it is what it is.
I remember that.
Yeah, I don't know. I recall that as well. I remember there were like a couple of bosses that weren't in the arcade version that was actually added to, I think, the PC Engine version. It got a port to that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Yeah, and then there was a HuCard, or was it a CD game? That I don't remember.
CD game.
Yeah, that's crazy. It doesn't seem like the type of game that you would expect a CD, but as I recall, it had a pretty decent soundtrack to it, or I at least remember that the first stage theme was really bouncy and pretty catchy as well. But as per Toe Plan titles usually are, I remember it being pretty difficult, or at least it gets pretty damn hard later on. Even if it's not... Yeah, exactly. It's certainly doable. I have beaten it, but it has been a while since I've done. I just think it's pretty interesting in how it's kind of not a platformer, but it's also not like a shoot 'em up. It's sort of like a hybrid in between the two locations. It's got a pretty neat atmosphere and some overall interesting design to it. Mm-hmm. If you're looking, like, it's still kind of a shoot 'em up, but if you want to play something a bit different from Toe Plan than like Truxton or Fire Shark or what have you, I think you could do worse than this one.
Yeah, it's one I wanted to put some more time into.
Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah.
At some point.
Well, that said, now here's one I have actually played through to the end. And I have to say this is one of the goriest arcade games as far as 2D games that I've seen outside of Splatterhouse.
Oh, yes.
Night Slashers by Data East.
This one is a real one. Like, I've been on a huge beat-em-up kick lately, and this one doesn't look and sound great. No, this one doesn't only look and sound great, but it also plays pretty damn well.
Oh, yeah.
As well. It's almost on par with some of, like, the really good beat-em-ups like Capcom and Konami and Irem have made, I would say. Like the basic premise is lots of evil stuff is happening. So, like, a European vampire hunter, a Chinese Taoist priest, and an American cyborg, the Night Slashers, as they're known as, Christopher, Honghua, and Jake, all take the fight to all these nasty demons that fall the fuck apart when their life meters run out.
Especially those zombies.
Yeah, the basic enemies in this game has one of the goriest death animations as I recall. They're like, some zombies that are like kind of like some of the zombies look like they're like completely skinless, while others still kind of look humanoid, but like you can't really see their eyes, and they have like no limbs. They've been chopped off, and there's a lot of fantastically gruesome sprite work in this game. It's incredible.
Yeah, you can.
And it's also Halloween. Yeah, it's also Halloweeny as all hell, because I remember some of the bosses, including a mad scientist and his Frankenstein monster creation, who actually attacks you like a pro wrestler, because why not? Um, a creepy old man, and an also creepy boyish puppet that he controls with a bell, a giant magical rock golem, a possessed sword, uh, an actual vampire who seems to be the bad guy, but you beat him and you're only like halfway through the game. I didn't want to spoil, but there's a lot of awesomely crazy stuff in it, and oh man, and like we said, it is extremely violent. So if that bugs you, like we are talking at least Mortal Kombat level, maybe even a little gorier than that. I don't know.
Well, I think it falls just short of Splatterhouse, actually.
Yeah. Like Splatterhouse is maybe the only like Splatterhouse. I would say is maybe gorier than this on the sense that it's also got a really deliberately dark atmosphere. Night Slashers feels more like a deliberate schlock movie, like it's having a lot of fun with the concept. It's, for the most part, not being too serious, but my god, is it ever freaking fun.
Nice.
Also,
well, you came back just in time, Prime.
I mean, I know Prime loves beat 'em ups. I'm very certain he's familiar with this one. I'd be surprised if he wasn't. I do have to mention, of course, that this was unfortunately something that was taken out of the Western version, but the Japanese version, you know how like in a beat 'em up, whenever you thrash a set of enemies, you can scroll to the right to the next scenario, and there's a pointer arrow that says "Go."
Yes,
a lot of beat 'em ups have that. In Night Slashers, the arrow says "Go," and then the "Go" sign flips over, and it says "To hell." That is the greatest thing ever, and I'm sad it's only in the Japanese version, but I'm glad that something like this even exists. My God, it's so good.
All right, good night, Brandon.
Hey, good night, Brandon. Thank you very much for stopping in. I hope this was enjoyable, too.
Yep. Bit disjointed
again,
that we've been.
Yeah, like, this was a stopgap stream from our original idea, but I am having fun discussing shit like Night Slashers and Uninvited, and to a lesser extent, the Cap Attack, which I realize I haven't played in a really long time, but it was still something I beat.
Now, it's been a couple of years since I went through Night Slashers, but all I know is I had a fun time doing it, and I really need to go through it again soon.
Totally, it's tops. It is, yeah, very worth it if you're a beat 'em up fan or a horror fan. I do unfortunately have to give one caveat, though. Actually, I'm not sure if this even applies because I think the game was delisted, but there was a attempted remake somewhat recently. Oh, hey, Aris, thank you for stopping by as well.
Have a good night.
Yeah, I hope it's enjoyable. You take care. But yeah, there was a remake of Night Slashers that was widely derided for really terrible artwork, and I'm pretty sure it played pretty jankily as well, and it was just no good.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's been delisted from most modern fronts, so
that was quick.
It's not really a factor, but yeah, it was that shitty. It's like, the only thing it offered was that it added a fourth character who was one of the characters from Fighter's history, but not exactly a worthy mea culpa for the overall shoddiness of the product as around. So, yeah, it is still playable. I would not recommend it. Just stick with the original.
I'm not familiar with The Missing, but if it's better than Cap Attack, hey.
Yeah, exactly. Go for it.
But, alright, I do want to touch on a couple of games by Namco real quick, and then we're going to move on to our last two, which will probably take up the rest of the stream.
Yeah, that's fair.
That would be the Genpei Tomaten games.
I fucking love, well, the first one at least, but yes.
Now, instead of descending into hell, you're pretty much an undead samurai who's fighting his way out of hell to avenge himself. It's based on, I can't remember if it's, I think a lot of it's intertwined with Japanese historical fact. But there's obviously a lot of fiction as well.
Yeah. Oh, what exactly was it called? It was based off of a specific war that was, I think, from before the Sengoku period. Yeah. I'm the feudal Japan nerd, so let me look this up. Oh, it was actually called the Genpei War, hence the name. I don't know what Tomaden means, but that would be the basis of that. National civil war between the Taira and the Minamoto clans during the late Heian period, resulting in the downfall of the Taira and establishment of the Kamakura shogunate under Minamoto Yoritomo, who is the villain of this game. And you play as Taira no Kagekiyo, who is one of the fallen soldiers of the Taira clan, who must then... this didn't actually happen in Japan. I don't think any soldiers came back from the dead to kill the current shogun, but...
yeah, that's tough.
Pretty crazy high concept for a game. Very, very incredibly rooted in Japanese history, and would probably be inaccessible in its design to most of us Yanks. Except for the fact that, and I don't know why they did this, but I'm glad they did, this game was chosen to be on one of the Namco Museum collections on the PS1, Volume 4.
I can tell you exactly why.
Whoa, why is that?
That game was huge in Japanese arcades. It was Japanese.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Instead of pulling it off there and replacing it with something more familiar to American gamers, they just decided to slap a bit of a translation on it and leave it as is. Renamed it the Genji and the Heiki clans, I think it was.
Yeah, a little bit of a clunky tile. I do prefer calling it Genpei Tomaden, but that is crazy that we got it at all. And I just almost immediately, never having played it before when I first did play it on Volume 4, and I instantly gravitated towards it because this game looked really cool and weird. It just had that atmosphere, being that Namco made it, it just had a similar sort of feeling atmosphere to it, like Splatterhouse did when I first played that on a PC Engine emulator. Just something about Namco's weird games like that just really draws me the hell in. They got the touch, I guess. I don't know how better to say it.
And as far as if you look at Volume 3, the Tower of Jiraga is on there. And
yes.
Most people in America, as far as I know, are not a fan of that game.
Oh, no, I hate playing it, but I do recognize it's a tentpole of Japanese game design, and I know that one's really popular there on the basis of it sort of being the ultimate example of your friends will also play this and find cool shit that you will not just by dicking around, and then you get to share all your notes on how to progress on the game. I know that I mean that's a thing to an extent in American game design and fandom as well, but Japan is big on that. You're familiar with the show Game Center CX, right?
Yeah.
I remember that there were a couple of segments where they had Kacho Arino play a somewhat infamous game. For one, I think it was that really bad Genso Sayuki one for the Famicom, that really bad one that was based on Journey into the West.
Oh, yeah, that thing.
And another one that was based on Championship Load Runner, which is like a super expert version of Load Runner that just has some really freaking crazy levels that need to be beaten in a specific way somehow. And the premise of those segments was that he got help from callers who were giving him advice that were familiar with the game and told him about some tricks to observe that would help him get to the end of the games. So, yeah, on that basis, Tower Jiraga is really huge in Japan, but us American lone wolves just don't like it as doing that as much, I guess. I don't know.
Anyway, getting back to Genpei Tomaden.
Yeah, I digressed heavily there.
The original game is actually split into 3 different modes. You have a
Yes.
small mode, which you control a very tiny version of Kajgeo, and you're simply trying to get to the what do they call those arches? They're
Gates, I think.
say it again. You cut out of it.
Oh, Tori, I think. Tori. Japan Tori. Yes. That's it. Torii, actually. But yes, that.
And you get to those, it brings you to the next stage. Usually it's a big mode where you now play a huge version of Kajgeo, and your sword, you've got pretty unlimited movement over it. It can even get take damage. But you fight your way through all sorts of, yokai and all sorts of other stuff like tigers and whatnot. And at one point, you'll find yourself in an overhead stage. Those irritate me because they're so hard to find their way out of.
Yeah,
and you can get sent back if you hit the wrong gate. So,
yep.
And there's other stages too that are, I think, small mode where you can actually have special items showered down on you by some kind of benevolent god. Every so often, one of the other gods will come out of the, you'll see him appear in the background, and all of a sudden this huge paddle will come out and just whack you.
I think that is, for some reason, the giant projection of the bad guy himself, Yoritomo. I don't know why he attacks you early like that in those stages, but it is something that can happen, yes.
Yeah. Something worth mentioning is that they actually put together it's about 10 minutes long. It's a combination live action, animated model short, basically showing you the film or the game in this promotional film.
Right.
And there's
Go ahead.
I was going to say there's an edited version of it if you do a special trick at the opening of Namco Museum Volume 4.
Yes, I was going to say, that's bonkers. That was included on the compilation.
Yeah. It's interesting to watch the full version because there's stuff, obviously, you don't get to see in the edited one. Nothing too groundbreaking, but it still provides a little more context.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Now, here's what happened, though. Namco eventually did a sequel. It was console only, came out for the PC Engine. And interestingly enough, it was released in the US as Samurai Ghost.
Yes.
And they ditched the overhead and small modes entirely, and it's just strictly big mode.
Which disappointed me, I'm not going to lie.
I didn't mind it so much, but it's hard. It's very hard.
From what I remember playing, it wasn't easy. Well, then again, neither was the original game, to be fair.
I've never finished either of them. So, but it's a neat thing, and I'm glad they made it. Because how often do you see that kind of thing happen with something like that? Especially being brought to the U.S.
Yeah, that is crazy that we somehow got both games in the West for as extremely Japanese as they are. So, yeah. We should also probably note that we regard these as being Halloween games because they I don't know, something about them does have kind of a creepy atmosphere. Like, I mean, most notably in every stage, you can fall back down into hell itself, and this is always denoted by piles of bones and skulls that are in every single level. So there's every single small level anyway. I don't think they're in the big and side modes as much,
no,
but
they're not.
There's just sort of a morbid sort of air to the game. I mean, starting out in hell, you have these weird, creepy, eyeless, jabbering heads. That was kind of like the touch that made me think, oh wow, this game's pretty fucking neat. When I was playing it all those years ago, and like it just has some like weird overall design to it, like the one demon who floats in and like plays some music that generates these notes that try to attack you. That's also, I think, a yokai of some sort, the Biwa Biwa or whatever. Yes, yes, that's the one that he's doing this weird low pitched chanting as well.
Yeah.
And like there's this creepy, like really old lady with these floating ghost heads or whatever that talks to you at the beginning of the game.
Yep, and she's got that laugh.
Yep.
Also, keep in mind one thing. I'm not looking at this as a Halloween game stream. It's definitely still a retro horror stream.
Yes, exactly.
Your version, if you want to count this as Halloween related, that's your call, but I'm looking at it strictly as retro horror.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I meant, actually, that the game does have, it's more subtle than some of the other games we're talking about, but it definitely does have a sort of demonic sort of overall feel to it, and, I mean, you are dealing with yokai, and Japanese demons are cool and creepy, usually.
And you know, the closest thing I'd say that ever actually came to it, without going into too much detail about it, is Getsu Fumiden for the Famicom.
Yeah, it's a very similar name, which makes me wonder if that one also had the same historical basis as this game, but I'm not sure if anything's actually been proven on that end.
I don't know, but that's definitely worth checking out if you're into it's kind of Zelda 2 in a way.
Yeah, totally.
So, anyway, moving on to our final couple of games here. First one, I don't think this was ever an arcade game, but it was definitely on the Dreamcast. And it's related to an arcade series. That would be Zombie Revenge.
Alright. This motherfucker. This is a cool game.
Yes, it is. This was one I just happened to get. Yeah, I thought, okay, that sounds interesting. I picked it up for the Dreamcast way back when I had it. Did not regret it.
Yeah, it is a spin-off of the House of the Dead series. I'm not sure if it takes place in the same continuity as those games, but it is a game with zombies made by Sega. Oh, no, wait. No, like, the penultimate stage is like the mansion from House of the Dead, isn't it? Of course it's fucking related.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm dumb. But, yeah.
But it is basically, it's a 3D brawler.
Mm-hmm.
With guns.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but my favorite weapon in that game is a drill with like a 3-foot-long drill bit.
I sort of remember that. Yeah, there were a lot of cool weapons to get in that game. I just remember that you kept hearing bullets. Yes. Bullets. You heard that a lot, but you know you had pistols, so like you did have that to pick up. I also remember there were, like, in the home console version, there were a couple of different modes which made your guns weaker, but your martial arts stronger, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, Sega did not half-ass their Dreamcast ports back in the day. Like, the House of the Dead 2 one had a lot of cool shit on it as well.
If you've never heard of this game, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, totally look it up, Zaf. I don't think you'll regret it. I want to say, like, it maybe bears a little bit of similarity to Spike Out, sorta, but I haven't actually played as much Spike Out as I should have, but I did play a lot of Zombie Revenge back in the day. I remember it gets pretty damn tough.
Oh, yeah, it does.
It's got some pretty heinous bosses in it, like that, like, giant mutant skeleton thing that you fought in the sewer with like this giant fan head and these extendo limbs or whatever. My memory's rusty, but I think there was a boss like that and he was really annoying.
Game is still super cool though. If I was to ever have another Dreamcast, I would get it, but I'm not getting any one of those anytime soon.
Prime, you don't know much about Zombie Revenge? Yeah, no, totally look this one up.
Absolutely.
Hang on, and shit, let me see if I can find a good gameplay video of this one, because, let me see if I can find one that's just like Not like a full playthrough if it can be helped here. I don't guarantee anything though. Zombie Revenge Dreamcast. It has been a long time since I played this one, but I just remember having a huge freaking lot of fun
Oh
on it,
yeah.
as I did pretty much everything on the Dreamcast. Well, okay.
I'll
Let
say
me see
it's
if this works.
definitely a very Sega game.
It's Sega's all balls, yeah, very of its era,
Mm-hmm.
which is only a good thing in my opinion. This gameplay video is 15 minutes long. I'm hoping to find a slightly shorter one. Oh, you never had a Dreamcast? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, sir. That's some good shit on it.
Yeah.
Although it was prone to malfunctioning, I think, a little bit more than the usual console at the time, but it still just had a lot of cool things on it. I mean, hell, it actually got me to like Sonic for some time, if you can believe it.
Whereas it did not get me to like Sonic.
Yeah, well, they can't all be zingers.
Oh, hey, I had Cannon Spike, Giga Wing 1 and 2, and Mars Matrix and Zombie Revenge. So, who needs Sonic?
Yeah, of all of that,
Also,
I could see why
Gunbird
you.
2, Zero Gunner 2, Ikaruga. Yeah. A lot of good
Shenmue.
stuff. Hmm?
I mean, Shenmue for the first 2/3, but yeah.
Speaking of the stupid forklifts, yes.
Ah, yes.
Uh,
Yeah, Sharon, I am one of those hipsters who loves the Dreamcast very much, as I know quite a bit of people do. It was the last hurrah for Sega as a huge tentpole in video game console making, and it's so bittersweet how things shook out the way it did. I just wonder, yeah, if Sega were still making consoles, would the Like a Dragon series be exclusive to it? That'd be crazy to think.
also, it
But
had the game that actually made me start to appreciate fighting games a little more, Soul Calibur.
yeah, Soul Calibur, yes, of course. Yeah, naturally.
And Crazy
Dang.
Taxi, Crazy Taxi 2. It was good stuff.
Yeah, Rob, about that, can I say something?
You can.
Yeah. I love Crazy Taxi very much.
Hey, come on down. Let's party with Crazy Taxi.
I actually played it enough to once get the ultimate score that you can, which is a crazy license. So I really got into it for a while. I
Class
did it
B
with
license. Game over.
I did it with the secret rickshaw taxi, which might have been a bit of a cheat, but hey, a win's a win.
Yeah. So,
That one, the thing about that is that it controls extremely well, even if it's not super fast. But it just felt like I could maneuver a lot easier. But yeah, anyway.
yeah, I'm a big fan of the original Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, definitely. The sequels, unfortunately, didn't really do that much for me, but yeah, if not just for the original, it is some fun shit. So
Power Stone. Almost forgot about that.
Power Stone is a good time. So is its sequel, though the original arguably controls tighter and is more focused, but two's not bad either.
But
Yeah, those are some fun games.
Before this turns into the Dreamcast thread,
Tempting,
or
but yes.
Dreamcast stream, pardon me, I'm so used to thinking in forum terms.
The Streamcast!
Yeah, that's what we'll call the
should
Dreamcast
totally-
stream, the Streamcast.
Yeah, we should totally fucking do that sometime.
All right, let's move on to our last game. This was originally came out for the PlayStation, was later released for the N64. Surprisingly. But this, when Splatterhouse basically went into hibernation, as far as I'm concerned, there was only one game that could possibly come close to that in the late 90s. And that was Callisto's Nightmare Creatures. Takes place in 1834 London. You choose between either a staff-wielding priest or a warrior woman who looks kind of like a pirate. That's Father Ignatius and Nadia. and you're going through England destroying all these creatures that were created by this dude, I think his name is Adam Crowley, who is the leader of the Brotherhood of Hecate. The opening of the game alone is just worth watching. It just really sets the tone for the whole thing. And the game has atmosphere bleeding out of it. The controls are decent. You know, it's a 3D brawler. And it even has early analog control. You know, it's not like you're using a DualShock or anything like that, but it actually is playable with an original analog controller.
Nice.
The game Bloodborne fans went back to love. Well, having never played Bloodborne, but being an early adopter of Nightmare Creatures, I like Nightmare Creatures.
I know you do.
Yes. I think my favorite stage in the entire game, though, has to be Highgate Cemetery. First, the soundtrack is just... pardon me. The soundtrack is just eerie. It's just kind of creepy. Like, you don't want to be alone in a cemetery at night with this music playing. Sure, you have your standard creatures, and you got werewolves, zombies, you got harpies are in there. But there's also neat little touches, like you'll run past a tomb or a grave or something, and all of a sudden this ghost will just come flying up out of it, and it'll be like, and it just doesn't do anything. It just flies into the sky. And now there is one problem, though. There's an adrenaline meter in this game. Anyone who's played Shinobi on the PS2, when you get the what's the name of the sword in that?
Shit. I think it started with an A or something.
Akakage or something like that?
Yeah, kinda. If not exactly that.
Well, how that basically eats your life away.
Raven says Akujiki. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Right.
Yeah, that's the adrenaline meter in Nightmare Creatures. If it runs down... Not with that music playing. As the adrenaline meter runs down, you only refill it by killing monsters. And it's entirely possible to run out of monsters. So, because it is maze-like in parts. I mean, it's like, I think they actually took maps of the city from the 1830s and translated them into a 3D environment. So, you can get lost. And if you've killed all the creatures in one area, they do not respawn. Sharon, you've never heard that music. Remind me to play it for you sometime. So, of course, you run out of monsters. There's nothing to kill. Your adrenaline meter starts to drain. When that goes empty, then your life starts to drain. And you will eventually die. Now, the one plus the Nintendo 64 version had over the PS1 one was that you can actually turn off the adrenaline meter in the N64 game. I digress. It's got some really interesting monster designs, and the combat is satisfying. It is a hard game. The bosses are almost impossible, I swear.
Yeah, about that.
Even the first boss, the sewer snake, the 3-headed sewer snake, that thing is almost impossible to get past.
I'm going to be completely honest. I know you love this game, but that goddamn motherfucker made me quit the fucking game forever, and I'm still bitter about it.
You know, that is the one thing I do not like about that game, is the boss fights. I cheated my way through that game, okay? I looked up some codes, I put them in, and it was just like, I want to see the rest of this game. And I can't do it if I'm getting stopped by the stupid first boss. And
I can't remember if I actually beat it or if like either I just completely gave up forever, or I did beat it eventually, but I was so frustrated by the end of it that I never came back to it. Um,
I will say this though, if you take the bosses out of it, except for maybe the last boss, he's actually probably less hard than the earlier ones.
that is fucking weird. Did they design that part in reverse by accident or some bullshit?
It's Gradius syndrome.
I guess so.
Except
That's fair.
he's still puts up a fight. He doesn't just sit there and let you kill him.
Right.
But it's just the bosses ultimately do kind of kill the game. So I will happily cheat my way through it. I'll never say I legitimately finish it, but I will happily cheat my way through it just to have fun.
So this is at least a game where the style does it so much for you that you don't care in so much if the substance is kind of wonky.
Yep.
I'm surprised at you, Rob. I've never known you to ever approach games like that ever.
If I like a game enough, but I get stuck, and I really want to see the end of it because I like it as much as I do, I will cheat like a bastard.
And I'm not sure if I ever think about that for any game that I think is just so unfair that I don't think it's worth bothering with. Like, I mean, wow, like what other games do you think that about? Because it's just weird that we have an exception here to the rule.
Oh, there's several of them. There's a lot of very difficult games that if they have some kind of a cheat mode or something where I can see the rest of the game, I'll do it. It's like credit feeding an arcade game. Granted, this can lead more to like invincibility or whatnot, but I'm in it for the experience, not necessarily the bragging rights. Now, there are some hard games I have legitimately beaten without using any kind of codes or anything like that, simply because either they don't exist or I was younger and a lot better. Case in point, Predator on the NES.
Yeah, I'm so surprised you went for that one too. It's like you have all these
that night.
Yeah, it's like I just funny how you have all these sort of like preferences and bylaws for games, but then there are very few that completely violate every tenet of what you normally don't like that you do like somehow, and it's just fascinating. I'm sure you're not the only person who has inconsistencies like that, but
of course not. But it's the way I am, and like I said, there's plenty I've beaten legitimately, and plenty that I haven't. But
I don't want to be too grumpy about Nightmare Creatures, by the way. I will grant that its atmosphere is fantastic, and I remember definitely enjoying it before that giant fat worm fuck took a big old shit over everything, and I ever went back to it. But until then, yeah, I could see why you were into this one.
Yeah. So I wanted to see more what the game had to offer.
Well, the only more that you could get outside of that was the sequel, I guess.
I do not like the sequel.
I understand most people don't.
I thought the combat was clumsy. I thought the main character was completely unappealing. And it was way too dark. And I don't mean dark as in atmosphere. I mean the game was just too damn dark. You got to turn up the brightness on your TV just to see things.
Was this game very clearly more of a low-budget effort than the first?
If there was a budget, I think they spent most of it licensing Rob Zombie music for the U.S. release.
Oh, Jesus Christ, really?
Dracula
in it is the question I have.
I don't remember what of his music they used in it, to tell you the truth.
Fuck, I need to look this up.
Yeah, sorry, Raven. I could not get into Nightmare Creatures 2 for the life of me. And I wanted to. I really wanted to. And also, you're right. The swimming level was shit. But the fatalities were cool. Yes, I will give it that. And some of the monster designs, nice. But everything else, what'd you find?
According to this one review I just looked up on a whim here, Nightmare Creature. It says Nightmare Creatures 2 probably deserves some credit for licensing Rob Zombie's music in 2000, but not using Dragula, a true miracle. Yes, wow. That's a curveball, to say the least. But yes, Demonoid Phenomenon was used in it. Yes, that is true.
Good song.
It's a good one, yeah. Back when Rob was good, to be sure, and then he fell off around educated horses, and then it was just...
Yeah. Look, Rob, make music or make movies. Choose one, please.
Yeah, and try and do at least one of them better.
Yeah. But, yeah, and I always found that the main character looked like... Let's see. How would I best describe him? A super ugly bandage-wrapped Marilyn Manson.
Uh-oh. That reminds me of another character design that you're not going to like.
Oh?
Okay, actually, he looks more like a character... a worse version of a character I know from an SNK fighting game, oddly enough. But
Really?
Mukuro from The Last Blade 2. That game's awesome. But the image in the head that I was getting when you said that was the design of Grant Dynasty from the fucking Castlevania Judgment fighting game. Oh boy,
God.
everybody hated that design. Oh my... Why does Grant always get the shaft? Always.
Well, some people seem to think he's a pirate.
Here we go.
Landlocked Europe. And choose not to write him into their animated adaptation because of this. Instead, he's a traveling acrobat.
Yeah.
He's not a pirate.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Lords of Shadow also exists.
You do not want to get me started on this, Mike.
I'm just being an ass now. Again, you can tell.
It belongs in a blender.
Yep. So do you. Oh no, wait, that's terrible. No, you don't.
Anyway, there was also some kind of a mobile Nightmare Creatures game.
What? Really?
Yeah. In the Guide to Retro Horror, Nightmare Creatures is the last game covered in the book. And Kurt dug up information on that, and he wrote that one up. Because I had no way to play it. It's 2D. It's interesting, to say the least, apparently. So, anyway, yeah, this has been our pretty fairly disjointed. Not sure how much information you got out of it, but our... yet another retro horror game stream, because let's face it, it's me we're talking about here. The Splatterhouse guy. It would only stand to reason I like other retro horror games.
Yeah, and there are definitely a lot more we could have plucked from here too, although I guess you have to wonder where exactly the line is that something can be considered horror and something just merely be considered horror themed, because depending on who you ask, Doom might be a horror game. At least I certainly think that's what the original game was going for to an extent. Heavy metal music notwithstanding, although there are some stages that definitely had creepier tracks than others, but yeah.
Excellent. Looking forward to those updates. So, but
Carnage Mansion.
Yeah, I wrote about it on West Mansion.
That sounds familiar. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. I got it. Yes, nice.
But you want to know what I have to say about this this line that you were talking about?
What's that?
The line must be drawn here, this far, no further.
Thank you, Patrick.
0.68 seconds and all that.
Yep, and that.
So, anyway, yeah, that's it. All right, the Nightmare Creatures mobile port. So,
Cool.
but yeah, if you're interested in checking out more about retro horror games, both console and PC, including such games as Waxworks, and I think Darkseed made it in there.
Yeah. Those were two I considered talking about, but I haven't played nearly enough of Waxworks. I only know it's pretty damn difficult, and it has all those really creepy, disturbing death scenes in it.
Yeah.
The mind scenario, especially if all the plant mutants, that one has some gruesome shit. Like, wow, even still unnerves me a little bit.
Yeah, and there's a whole page devoted to those in that book.
Yes, you do know about it. Yes, very good.
And also Project Firestar, I think is another one of the ones that Kurt covered.
Yeah, that was like a really early horror title, I believe. Yeah.
And I think he also put the Elvira arcade game in there, but I might be wrong.
I forgot she had an arcade game, but the guys who made Waxworks, I know, also made two Elvira adventure games that also had some pretty gruesome death scenarios in them.
Well, this wasn't actually an arcade game. More like how, remember when Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was released, how they had two versions?
Oh, yeah.
The graphic adventure and the action game.
The action game. Woof.
Yeah.
That was a thing. No problem. It wasn't based off of any movies called Waxworks. It wasn't, as far as I know, it was an entirely original set of scenarios, but that's a pretty interesting one to look up sometime. If I can find a gameplay video of that, let me see. And also, Darkseed is also one that, while somewhat doofy, is also legitimately creepy in some ways. It officially licensed artwork from H.R. Giger, rest in peace. And, I want to say it has, like, one of the art pieces that was used on the cover of Carnival 9, but I might be wrong about that. There's some definitely a lot of cool stuff we haven't covered yet. The sequel to Darkseed, though, is terrible. Though it's really fucking stupid. So, if I do note that one, I'm only going to graze upon it on the edge of it. But
Fate of Atlantis did have an action game too, which I understand was pretty damn bad.
Lordy. Prime, here's a 20-minute play of one of the 4 scenarios in Waxworks, the Cemetery, which is probably the easiest one that you want to start on that game. I'm not sure if it shows any of the death screens, but I know there's one, and the normal one there is extremely gruesome. So maybe a little bit of content warning, but yeah.
See. Zap, I should be able to get a list of games too somehow. I just need to figure out how, because I've got a whole list right here. Maybe I can do it like this. No, that is not what I wanted to do. All right, let me try this instead. Yeah, I don't care. So give me just a moment, and I might have that for you. All right. We're going to go ahead and authenticate me. I'm logging into West Mansion for this, because the only way I could think of that I can do this.
No worries.
Might be something up with Contech right now, so because that's not working.
Well, dang.
But I'll see if I can get that to you here. Maybe there's another way. If I send it to Mike, can you get it to them?
Well, sorry, I'm starting to zone out. What are you asking?
I'm asking if you can get this list of games we talked about tonight to Zap.
Oh, yeah. No, I should be able to PM it to them. That shouldn't be a problem.
I've got an updated list since we included some other stuff.
Gotcha.
So
Sounds
I'll send
good.
it to you. You send it to them. There you
Okie
go.
dokes.
All right.
All right, we finally got it.
Yeah. Anyway, to go ahead and close out tonight, I will say that the last weekend in October, which will be next weekend, we will be having another stream. This one is going to be called Return to Splatterhouse. Yep, we're bringing it back to talk about because I'm the goddamn Splatterhouse guy.
Yep.
So expect something kind of along the lines of what we did a couple of years ago with Stop Skeletons from Fighting, except there'll be some new guests on this time.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you come check it out next weekend, Saturday night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And beyond that, there is some news in the works for the streams themselves, but I'm not going to go into that just yet. So, other than that, buy my books.
Buy his books. Buy his books.
And yeah, if you haven't checked out the Guide to Retro Horror, definitely check that out. Yes, I figured you might be, Prime. And
Nice.
Raven, I don't know if you were here for the last one to listen to, but if you're here for this one, you're going to hear a lot of Splatterhouse talk. I don't know if it's going to run as long as the last one did. That was over 4 hours of us talking Splatterhouse. That was the longest stream we ever did. And the most popular on top of that.
Yes.
So, that said, it's after midnight here, so we're going to go ahead and sign off. Fan games we might bring up. Maybe. I got a nice list of them. So
Nice.
It's certainly possible. I mean, we kind of said almost all there is to be said about the games that were official last time. And, of course, we are going to touch on those. But, yeah, we'll just we'll see what happens. It's probably going to be pretty freeform. But
Yep.
it's going to be Splatterhouse from beginning to end.
Oh, yes.
So tune in next week, will you? All right, Mike.
You better be there and be square.
Being square is your own personal preference. If you choose to be square, be square. If not, then don't. All right, folks. So everybody have a good night.
Yep. Have a fun and enjoy.
Yep.